Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
We're here.
It's Sidewalk Slam.
We're back again.
Yeah.
For more wrestling.
More wrestling. So much wrestling. There's just so much wrestling.
Yeah, I know.
And there's more.
Obviously, morale hasn't improved.
Apparently not. It never stops. We plan on recording next week as well.
Yeah.
Because we're recording this on May 31st. 31st?
Yeah. 30th.
It says 31st. It's weird. Anyway, we're recording the NMA, and we plan on recording...
No, wait. It is the 31st.
Okay, good. We plan on recording next week as well to get back onto the 2-week thing so that we're not doing an episode every special.
Yeah.
Because doing like 3 Raws in the special is just like... There's so much
Especially
wrestling.
like lately, I'm assuming you've been busy because I've been busy. And it's just like I've been falling behind and then I just cram it all in. And I'm just like... No, I just want to, no.
And so, actually, before we get to all the Raws and everything, because we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw going up to and then including Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked us our thoughts on the upcoming sort of big shift changes to the WWE landscape because they're moving Thursday Night SmackDown.
Yes.
Which used to be Friday night. Well, it used to be Thursday and then
Used
Friday.
to be Thursday and then Friday and then...
Thursday again. Anyway, they're moving it to Tuesday and making it live, which means that, like... So first it was announced that it was going to be live, which means that it basically sort of had to involve some kind of brand split because you can't have your guys do a live show and then another live show 2 nights running.
Yeah.
And then they confirmed that there would be some sort of brand split involving a draft, which they did years and years ago. And a lot of people have been asking us what we think of that. And I don't know what I think of that yet because...
I've been actually thinking about it a lot. And I'm like, I am neutral right now. Like super neutral.
Especially, so this was interesting. Triple H tweeted about the next NXT special, NXT TakeOver The End.
Yeah.
And then in that tweet was like, so NXT TakeOver The End is happening in June, and then he said in the same tweet, where do we go from here? And it's like, is Trips being given SmackDown? Is it becoming like NXT 2? Like what? We don't fundamentally know what the landscape's going to look like after that change. And
it's not till July, right?
Yeah, people have been asking, like, so does this mean you're going to watch Raw and SmackDown and cover the whole thing? And it's like, man, I don't know. That's so much wrestling.
It is a lot of wrestling, and
we certainly wouldn't. If we were watching everything, we wouldn't be able to cover it in as much detail. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think like
so. We'll have to see.
We'll see.
We don't know. It could be cool. It could be real. I don't think it's going to suck, but honestly, the idea of a brand split has benefit. In some ways, to like the product actually getting to like back when it was very, very divided and you had different top level titles on the 2 brands and there could be crossover, but there was like different sort of titles. Yeah, that worked, but
I'll be interested to see what they do.
There was a period of time when there was 2 world titles, 2 mid titles, the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title. 2 women's titles, because the women's title and the Divas title coexisted for a while on different brands. Yeah. And 2 tag titles.
Jesus.
They had the WWF, or I guess they called them WWE tag titles, and the
World Tag Team?
World Tag Team
because they did the
titles.
World Championship and then the WWE Championship.
There was a lot of titles. Yeah. And their roster was not as deep then as it is now. So it was like, yeah, but...
Isn't that why Triple H and John Cena are like 15-time champions?
Something like that. So we'll
wait. I'm on a wait and see.
Yeah, I'm
mantra right now.
As with most things in WWE, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Just wait and see. I'm not like one of those people that likes to like predict like who's going to go where and what they're going to do. I've always just been like, lately, well, since I've started really watching wrestling again, I've been pretty happy with everything they've done. So I'm just confident that they'll figure something out. Yep. And I mean, even if that doesn't work out, at least this summer we have like, I'm kind of sad, actually backtracking a little bit, I'm kind of sad that maybe if NXT is done, but...
That seems unlikely.
Yeah.
But I don't know what, I don't know what that
But at least we have the
tweet means.
The Cruiserweight Classic this summer.
That'll be cool.
That'll be really fun.
I think they're doing that pre-taped, but it'll still be
they're
sweet.
taping in July, I think. Or no, maybe they're taping soon, but I think it airs in July.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In any event.
Yes.
We're at the end of the month. We're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the month and the Monday Night Raw following Payback.
Yeah.
So this is Monday Night Raw from May 2nd. Opens with this insane video package with like a movie trailer announcer. It's the new era is here. And it's like, wow, they're really, really committing to these talking points. And Michael Cole is right in there with like the new era, the new next generation. And, they're really committing to the new era.
Yeah.
Then they introduce Steph. Steph opens the show as one half of the power of Monday Night Raw.
Jesus.
And they never use that term again, thank God.
Yeah.
Because we've had the authority for like 2.5 years, and now it's one half of the power of Monday Night Raw. And it's like, oh, guys, that's so strange.
Yeah.
The power. Anyway, they never use it again, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Shane cut Steph off,
Yeah.
which of course, because, but they're getting along, which is cool.
Yeah, and Steph says that she has a peace offering.
Yes.
And she brings out, if you rewind back to the WrestleMania build-up, you'll remember that Vince stomped on a picture of himself and Shane when Shane was a kid.
Yeah.
And Stephanie has reacquired that picture and reframed it.
Yeah.
And is now offering it to Shane as like a... I was okay with this.
I
was
liked it.
Man, everything that this storyline has done, I've been fine with.
Yeah, going
forward
with this, the fact that Shane and Steph are getting along and being like amiable with one another and just sort of, being brother and sister, joking around, not always seeing eye to eye, but like they're being generally affable about it.
Yeah.
But them as a team butting heads with the wrestlers has been great.
Yeah.
It's been what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
It's been really good.
Is this the segment where she does the thing with her hand? It's like, do you want me to run?
No, I think it's a different one.
Is it a different one?
I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's this episode.
Kevin Owens comes out.
Yeah.
And doesn't trust Shane at all, obviously.
Yes.
And demands that Steph, because he knows that Steph is supposed to be the heel.
Yeah.
He demands that Steph do the right thing.
Yeah.
And give him the number one contender title, or number one contendership for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
And much to his dismay, because then Cesaro comes out, and much to Owens' dismay, Steph lets Shane decide what to do, and Shane makes a match between Owens and Cesaro for the number one contendership.
Yes.
And Owens is, of course, super upset. Next up, Popeye's Southern County Fair Chicken Tenders presents the Payback recap.
There's something about chicken tenders that always cracks me up. I don't know what it is.
It doesn't
like, what's a tender? Do we know? Does anyone know?
It's a nice bit of chicken, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, they just show bits of Payback. I just wanted to mention that it was the Popeye's Southern Fair Chicken Tenders presents the Payback recap. Anyway, so that match is right now.
Yeah.
With Miz on commentary.
Yeah.
And
all my notes just always say love the Miz.
Someone asks him, one of the commentary, I can't remember if it was Cole or Byron, asks him just point blank, because he's talking about how he retained his title at Payback. And they're like, did you or did you not tap to Cesaro?
Yeah.
And Miz just says, I beat him.
He's so good.
Because it's like, well, all right, fine.
I beat him.
I like the gut wrench suplex, which just stone cold means lifting a guy. You just pick the guy up and you put him down over there.
Yeah.
It's like gut wrench suplex. Yeah, sure.
Cesaro actually hits a drop kick on Kevin Owens when Kevin Owens is like sitting on the top rope, and it's super impressive. Mm-hmm. Man,
Kevin Owens does his frog splash.
Yeah.
Which I think it's JBL, says many people have called it the bullfrog splash.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anybody has called.
Later on, in like a couple weeks from this episode, Kevin Owens is on commentary. I think it's the one before Extreme Rules, and Kevin Owens is on commentary, and he calls it the 6-star frog splash, which I thought was really funny.
It's a 5-star?
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Miz interferes because, of course, he's going to interfere.
Yeah.
And then Miz and Owens beat up Cesaro. Yeah. But then, of course, Sami Zayn runs in to mess with Kevin Owens. So then Miz fights Zayn, and it ends with everyone sort of fighting around, and with Zayn holding the title in the ring.
I got goosebumps a little bit when I saw this. Yeah, the crowd loved it.
And of course, no resolution.
Yeah.
So,
which I mean, like,
so who knows?
Even watching this, we're like, well, I know what they're going for, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Extreme Rules is in, 3 weeks now?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Steph is backstage with Dean Ambrose, and she really wants to meet Mitch. The plant.
The plant
So she asks to be on the Ambrose Asylum. So
and Ambrose is like, at first Ambrose is kind of like, he's talking about how he doesn't buy the new Stephanie.
Yeah, he doesn't believe that
she's, well, I
Ambrose, as part of the Shield, was up against the Authority for a while as well. And he's like, I cannot believe that you are now totally cool.
Yeah.
That's not the Steph I know, which is fair.
Yeah. Which I liked. I really
Ambrose has a longer memory than some of the writers. And so she's like, okay, let's have me on your show then, ass, is basically what she's doing.
Basically, yeah.
Next we see R-Truth with his shitty homemade selfie stick, which is literally, it's a stick. Yeah. He's just taped his phone to a stick with leaves on it because...
And like the screen's cracked.
They've now made a new tag team, The Gorgeous Truth, which is Tyler Breeze and R-Truth. And then up against, they're not actually fighting, but the other tag team is Goldango, which is Goldust and Fandango.
Which has just been Goldust awkwardly dancing. Yeah. Basically.
And trying to get R-Truth to, like, he's fronting on R-Truth, basically.
Yeah.
This continues the sort of the weird... lovers quarrel arc of Goldust and R-Truth, which finally has some manner of payoff in these coming weeks, which is really great.
I was super happy with it. Like, a lot of people like poo-poo this kind of stuff, like between this sort of storyline between R-Truth and Goldust.
I like it.
I think it's fun.
Why not?
It's like
there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
AJ is backstage.
Yep.
He says, "The truth is, it isn't what it is." Mm-hmm. I mean, we gave Reigns stick last episode for sometimes the all needs help from the one. And you know what? I'm giving AJ crap for the truth is it isn't what it is. Like, I get what you're meaning, but come on. Anyway, he makes the point that he's still buddies with Ganderson, and that's fine, and it has no bearing on him wanting to...
Yeah, this story arc between AJ and Roman was very much... played on the fact that AJ wanted to prove himself and that AJ felt like he didn't need to resort to violence in the form of weaponry to beat Reigns. Yeah. And that was kind of the arc that led us into Extreme Rules.
So they're backstage. It's AJ and Gallows and Anderson, and then Roman Reigns busts in, and AJ like keeps Gallows and Anderson back. And Reigns states further that he's the guy. And then the Usos come in as well, and you have this sort of this feud that is built up over the course of this month, which is the Club versus the Bloodline. It's not the family anymore; it's the Bloodline,
which I think is a better name.
It's better. It's better.
How do you feel with the Club?
I think they could have done better than the Club.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. It's a name, I guess. I don't think it really like instills fear into the heart of men, though.
No. So now we have a match with Goldust versus Tyler Breeze. Yeah. With their respective partners in the corner. Goldust's entrance with Fandango is deeply weird.
Yeah, it's very strange.
So strange. Truth gives Tyler Breeze his do-rag.
That was awesome.
And Goldust spends the entire match being super offended. Yelling at Truth, how come I never got one of these? And Truth says, 'cause you ain't my partner. And Breeze wears it, too. Yeah. Breeze puts it on, and Goldust immediately rips it off. And is like infuriated with Truth. Feels personally hurt. Yeah. And because he's so distracted, Breeze wins that match.
Yeah.
This was
the rarely seen but often whispered Breeze win.
Yes.
It's very rare, but it happens.
Such a rare beast. That we were able to see one in our lifetime. New Day are heading to the ring, and an intern tries to twerk with them, and it does not go well.
Yeah, they seem to do that a lot. It's weird.
I think it's just like people backstage are like, can I get in one of these entrances?
Yeah. There's a sign when they're coming out that says St. Louis ain't booty, which I thought was really great.
They confirm in the ring, that Enzo Amore is fine. Yeah. And he'll be out for a little while to recover from the concussion, but that he's okay. Yeah. Xavier Woods is still all about Beyonce.
Yeah. And he says, just like Beyonce slithered into his DMs, I think. Yeah. And he was subsequently busted by Kofi and Big E.
They're like, no. The Vaudevillains interrupt. Yeah. I dig their music.
Dude,
it's
they're
so different.
So good. The whole package. I even said it on Twitter. It was like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I mean, I think I told you, but I've been making an effort of avoiding internet discourse of any kind, really, when regards to wrestling. And I feel like my viewing, I mean, it's kind of ironic that I'm saying it on this, but for me personally, like I found that I'm able to enjoy it as a whole. And like the Vaudevillains, just everything about them. I've gushed about them before, but I love everything about them.
Yeah. So the Vaudevillains come out, and because Enzo's okay, they're going to use this in storyline.
Yeah.
They're like, we won, we get the number one contendership because they had to forfeit that match because the Enzo and Cass are now bada boom, the realest guys in the emergency room. Yeah. How are you doing? Just like, oh my god.
They also talk about how like a real man, like real men is what their shtick is.
When men were men.
Yeah. And they said a real man would have got up and realest guy in the emergency room.
They call the Dudleys the downtown Abbeys, or no, the Dudleys say that. I did remember someone saying the downtown Abbeys rather than Downton Abbeys.
Because the Dudley boys interrupt.
Yeah, and then Big Cass enters as well.
Yeah.
Is part of Big Cass's gimmick that he occasionally stutters, or is he making fun of Devon?
He's making fun of Bubba.
Bubba, okay.
In ECW,
right.
Bubba's gimmick
was that he
stuttered.
Right.
And then in the middle of a promo, he would start stuttering, and then Devon would slap him on the back or something, and he would spit out.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, Bubba hated it.
Yeah. And so Big Cass is making fun of that, even though he hasn't done it in forever.
Yeah.
So we go to commercial, and we come back. Shane and Steph have made a match on Facebook.
Yay, Facebook!
I don't know why, but anyway, it's a 4v4 match. So it's Big Cass and the New Day versus the Dudleys and the Vaudevillains.
Yeah.
Which this match is great only for the whole match is just the Dudleys telling the Vaudevillains how to be assholes.
They're
great. Like Bubba Ray is just yelling at them like, no, now do this.
Yeah.
Now, what? Here, tag me in. He goes in, you do this, then you hit him, then you do it like this. And just like the whole match is just them it's the fact that they're even fighting is trivial to them.
Yeah.
They're putting on a clinic for the Vaudevillains about how to fight heel.
How to be dastardly no goods.
So good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Really great.
Yeah, that was my one note from this match. I was like, man.
Big Cass wins the match with his finisher, the East River Crossing. And over the course of these weeks, I'm so glad that, because usually if a tag team partner goes out for any length of time, it's just death for the other person.
Yeah.
But they kept Big Cass in the spotlight every week over the course of this, and it was so good for him. Mm-hmm. He's not as bad on the mic by himself as I was afraid he might be.
I feel like, he was definitely...
He needs Enzo.
He needs Enzo.
But he's not nothing without Enzo. Yeah. Which is great.
I think, like, he was noticeably more comfortable as each episode happened, which, I mean, is to be fair, like, he just came up.
Yeah.
He's definitely got some charisma. Yeah. I like him.
Yeah,
and he looks super strong.
And he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that.
You can't teach that, yeah. Yeah, but exactly, like, usually they just disappear. Mm-hmm. And I think this is proof that the WWE believes in that tag team. Yeah. For them to put Cass still out there. Yeah. Even when Enzo's off the shelf. Or on the shelf, sorry. Mm-hmm. But I think Enzo is back now.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? What? It's The Rock's birthday, and I profoundly don't care.
Yeah. My care level was 0%.
They're like, hey, happy birthday to The Rock. I'm like, all right.
All right, great, yeah.
So now they run a video package explaining Little Nate to the crowd.
Which I was like, okay, thank you.
I'm glad they finally explained that.
I know I freaked out about it, WWE, and I'm sorry.
Well, it would have been good if people had known this beforehand.
Yeah, exactly.
Because again, this did happen like 10 years ago in WCW.
Yeah.
Not even in the WWE product. But we talked about this, that referee Charles Robinson looks kind of like Ric Flair, and so they did this whole angle where he was Little Nate, and then that's why he did the screw job ending at Payback with Charlotte and Natalya, and there'll be more on that later in the show.
Yeah.
But first is a match between Becky Lynch and Emma,
who
they were obviously building up to have a match at Extreme Rules.
I think so, yes.
But then Emma got injured and had to go in for back surgery.
Yeah.
But is apparently recovering fine.
Yeah.
Because Emma won this match, and they were sort of building it up, and then it just sort of... nothing happened with it. So
because fast forwarding a little bit with these two, because Dana Brooke debuts the week after this episode.
Yeah.
And her and Emma were together in NXT.
And they were going to be together on the main roster.
Yeah.
And then Emma had to go in for back surgery. So then it left sort of Dana Brooke and Becky Lynch as, I guess, de facto feuding, but that didn't end up being what happens.
Yeah.
So more on that when we talk about Extreme Rules.
When we get there.
Yeah. There's another utterly inane promo about Puerto Rico, after which it cuts back to the arena and JBL just says out loud, remember that he has a microphone, he just says, "Isn't Puerto Rico bankrupt?" Like,
how did I miss that?
Like, for fuck's sake, man.
That's fucking great. I can't believe I didn't notice that.
The point of all these promos is to show talking up
Puerto Rico,
the shining star of the Caribbean, and JBL's like, "I hear it's garbage." Oh, well, why did we
Sick
bother?
one, JBL,
Oh my god. So it's the Ambrose Asylum with Steph. Dean finally asks her about getting speared at Mania.
I loved this whole segment.
She's very contrite about it.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of like waiting for her to snap, because she's like, you know, I was out of position, I was out of line, and I got in the ring, and I was where I shouldn't have been, and what happened. Yeah. And you're like,
she's trying. She's so good. She's trying so hard to turn over a new leaf, and Ambrose is 100% just poking her.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
She's super diplomatic about Shane.
Yeah.
She's like really, really chill. She's really trying, and Ambrose is just like poking her buttons about loyalty to the company, about missing time with her family.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Well, Dean, tonight's about change, right? It's the new era, so Ambrose Asylum's had a good run. Let's cancel the show."
That was awesome. It was perfect.
So Dean's like, "Oh,
no,
yeah, all right, that adds up." And he just takes Mitch and leaves.
Yeah.
Because he's reintroducing the highlight reel.
Hey.
And like right then, so Jericho comes out. More utterly inane stuff from JBL. He's like, "This is like Johnny Carson returning." Byron Saxton says, "What, from the dead?" And he's like, "Well, you know, like Ed Sullivan." And I think it's Cole even is like, "Can we maybe go a bit more modern, like Letterman or someone?" And then JBL just yells, "Chelsea Handler." And then there's a pause, and he's like, "Oh wait, she did come back. She's on Netflix. Jon Stewart." And Byron's like, "Okay, we get it."
Yeah.
Like, JBL's just like, must make relevant reference.
Yeah, because like, you know, every time JBL references something, it's something really old school.
Yeah.
Like everything he ever does, like Stan Hansen. Like,
And then Byron's like, "Dude, come on."
Bruh, please. It's like, you know that meme with like the guy standing with the question marks all around him?
But then when he does try to make a modern reference,
Yeah.
like Jericho starts sizing up Mitch on his, because they're passing each other, he starts sizing up the plant, and JBL goes, "Uh-oh," and then just says, apropos of nothing, "I am Groot." It's like, you don't know what you're referencing. You're like the movies guys. You're just saying pop culture references and hoping that people be like, "I like what I remember."
I forgot about the I am Groot thing.
But it's out of nowhere. He just goes like, "Oh, I am Groot." What? What are you saying?
Hello, fellow kids. I am Groot.
Like, JBL, please.
I smoked 3 marijuanas.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. JBL was. I love JBL.
I think starting to not like him.
Really? Even when he does stuff like this, I'm just like,
because I find it funny.
Yeah.
But I'd rather just not be there at all.
Really? I think I would miss it. Because there's some stuff he said during like Extreme Rules that just killed me.
Like I find like that funny from like a wow, he's so out of touch thing.
Yeah.
But the Puerto Rico thing, even though I have nothing invested in these guys' storylines,
that
is like scuppering that gimmick.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like, isn't Puerto Rico bankrupt? It's like we just spent weeks watching these promos about how it's wonderful
and beautiful and
beautiful.
And we should be. It's almost like
we're supposed to be jealous of these guys.
That's what it was. They were trying to get across that we were supposed to be jealous of this, and really it just looked like a really nice public service ads. Like I was just like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go to Puerto Rico.
And JBL's like, I hear it's crap. And it's like, oh, okay.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna say that JBL is perfect.
Good.
And you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's a great announcer, but I like him.
Yeah.
Because he cracks me up. surprise to no one, a brawl breaks out between Jericho and Ambrose.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jericho smashes Mitch over the back of Ambrose's head.
Yep.
Rip Mitch.
Rip Mitch 2016.
Yeah.
Next up, we have...
I actually wrote a note. I was like, is this a feud over a talk show?
Kind of?
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Next up, we have a battle royal
Yeah.
for number one contendership for the U.S. title match.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, so much for a storyline.
Yeah, I know, right?
Someone's going to win the battle royal, and then they'll get the match and whatever.
Yeah.
I was very surprised with the direction this match went, because I was like, oh, a battle royal on Raw. These are always right. But so here's how this match broke down. Actually, first of all, Sandow was in the ring, and I was like,
oh yeah, I know.
Because I watched this after we recorded the last episode, and he'd since been released, and I was like, oh, Sandow, I miss you. Corbin gets eliminated by Ziggler, who rips him out of the ring, beats him up, and then puts him back in, and just like hands him to Ziggler or to Rusev, and just goes, "Here you go." And Rusev's like, "Oh,
thanks.
Okay, cool." Picks him up and throws him out.
Yeah.
And I've actually never seen that where someone's like beats him up and then puts him back in and is like, "Hey." I've prepped this unconscious guy for you.
It's like when a cat kills something and like leaves it at your doorstep, like leaves a dead bird there or something. And I actually like this too because it was so much different from just pulling him under the ropes and then the ref thinks he got eliminated. Yeah. And then Ziggler's like, oh, I went under the ropes. Yeah. You know? So it was different and it was good. I liked it.
And so there's your general sort of like whatever, and a bunch of guys get tossed out. But then you get down to sort of fewer guys, and the League of Nations, who broke up, Rusev, Sheamus, and Del Rio, they're like, well, we know how to work together. Let's work together. So they all start beating up Sin Cara. But they have a little bit of tension there. Yeah. God, if Barrett had something with the company, this would have been a great time for a Barrett run-in, but he wasn't. So, and then you get down to the last four left are the League of Nations and Ryder. Yeah. Who work together and just beat the tar out of him. And then they're like, they're working together, they chuck him out of the ring, and he does what's called skinning the cat. Which is, skins. I don't know why, but it's the thing Shawn Michaels used to do, right? Where you get like thrown out in an over-the-top battle royal, and you're holding on, and you're just not quite touching the ground, then you pull yourself back up. Don't know why it's called that, but anyway. So they think he's been eliminated. So then the league starts fighting with each other. Yeah. But then Ryder gets back in, hits a Rough Rider on Del Rio. Yeah. Which is pretty sweet. Takes a heel kick from Rusev. Yeah. Del Rio eliminates Sheamus. Yeah. Rusev and Ryder, not working together but independently hitting him with stuff, eliminate Del Rio. Yeah. And now we're down to just Rusev and Ryder. Yeah. This was really interesting. Yeah. The back half of this match was like this tension between the former League of Nations members and Zack Ryder was like really, really cool. And Ryder got in some really great offense. Yeah. Actually, Ryder had me believing he was winning this match. I know, right? I was like 100% bought into it. Yeah. Because he just had the Intercontinental title, so you could put it. You could put the U.S. title on him. He has that Sami Zayn vibe, right? Yeah, like you just want to see him win. With this sort of thing, where it's like him versus three monster heels. Well, maybe not monster heels, but Rusev sure is. Oh yeah, Rusev is now, I think. Yeah, Rusev eventually just sort of hurls him over. Yeah. And ends up winning. But this is good momentum for Ryder because I was afraid that he wasn't going to have any. Yeah. So they bring out Charlotte and Rick to talk about, quote from Michael Cole, the shenanigans at Payback. Let's see what those old Flair boys are up to this week. They call out referee Charles Robinson, who I think is the only ref they refer to by name now. Yeah. I don't know the names of any of the other ones. Refs used to... Is Mike Chioda still around? No, because they used to call out... Yeah, they used to, because Mike Chioda was the senior ref. Mike Chioda used to get chance. Scott Armstrong was around for a while. And Earl Hebner? Yeah, well, yeah. Does Hebner still ref in TNA? I think so. Yeah. The Hebners have been around for years. Hebner's like the ref. The Hebners. Yeah. Earl Hebner was the ref for the original Screwjob. Yeah. So he comes out, and his defense is, even though Natalya wasn't tapping, she was screaming, stop it, and he thought that counted. Even though that categorically doesn't count. Yeah. And... Yeah. And that's it. And they're like, so does your decision stand? And he's like, it sure does. Shit-eating grin. Yeah. And it's like, okay. All right, you're a bad guy now. Sure, all right. Yeah.
Charlotte brings up that he has history with her father and stuff like that, and he's like, does that impact your decision, or did that impact the way you called the match? He was like, yes. I mean, no. I was like, all right.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. I believe you.
Yeah. There is a big cheater chant.
Yeah.
And I loved how Charlotte just started wooing to get them to stop chanting cheater, and everyone's like, oh, she's wooing. Woo! Like everyone just starts wooing along with it. Yeah, it was brilliant. I thought it was great. I don't know if that's what she was going for. Well, I mean, I'm hoping that's what she was going for, but it was fantastic.
So Natty hits Charlotte and then puts Rick in a sharpshooter.
Yes.
Which is great. Because then backstage, even though Rick got beat up, Charlotte is incessantly complaining to Rick about her being hit.
Yeah.
Just whinging at him.
Yeah.
Steph interrupts them.
Yeah.
And makes a match for Extreme Rules.
Yes.
Which, because it's Natalya has the sharpshooter and Charlotte has the figure eight. And so it's going to be a submission match.
Yeah.
But Steph is, hoping for something a little better than the Payback match. And so Ric Flair is banned from ringside.
Yes.
Rick, by the way, doesn't have any lines in this segment and is just emoting heavily.
Yeah.
And chewing the scenery.
Yeah. Is this?
They're upset about it, by the way.
Yeah, they, I think they're really, well, I mean, as the weeks have gone on, they've really cut back on Rick's. Mm-hmm. Rick's kind of on thin ice, I think.
Yeah.
Lately. Yeah. What did he do last time? What did he say about Natty? Remember there was that big, it was on SmackDown? Maybe it was before their last match? Not the Payback match, but was there a match before that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was something, I can't remember, it was something real bad that they actually cut out of the...
Yeah, they completely cut it, and I think ever since then, I can't even remember what it was, but Rick has been kind of they don't give him a lot of free reign. Yeah. I can't remember.
God,
It's right on the, in the back of my head, but I just remember, even watching this segment, I'm like, man, they really aren't. It feels like they're keeping a tight leash on Rick.
Yeah.
Which tighter leash.
Might be fair.
Yeah.
So then the main event is a 3v3 match with the family, because they're still being called the family at this point, versus the club. They've now said they're called the club, which is all right, sure.
I loved how Ganderson and AJ looked when they entered the ring.
Sweet.
Both Gallows and Anderson wearing the white, and then AJ comes in with his little hoodie on and does his thing. And I just thought just the visual of it, I was like, all right.
Mm-hmm. What I thought was interesting about this, because we've talked about tag matches going into title matches, that they start with AJ and Roman in the ring.
Yeah.
Which that's unusual for these
usually
sort of
it would
matches.
be Gallows and Roman, or you know what I mean. It's never the people that are actually I'm surprised they didn't team up Roman and AJ. You know what I mean? What they usually.
I was okay with it. Reigns' corner forearms don't look especially threatening.
Nope, not really. But I mean, I actually have to say, I know Reigns is a hot topic always, right? Mm-hmm. And we've talked about him a lot on this podcast.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that have very strong opinions about it. I'm actually really starting to turn the corner on Reigns.
Really?
Not as a character. As a character, I find him whatever. Yeah. But as far as a performer, I definitely respect him now. Especially after his work with AJ. Yeah. I'm excited to watch what he does going forward.
Yeah.
I still have to catch up on the stuff with Rollins, but I've heard not great things.
Yeah.
But
I think he needs more diverse move set.
Yeah. But as far as the character goes, I'm almost neutral about it now, because they don't, when people are saying oh, they need to turn him heel, it's they don't really need to. They don't need to do anything. They just need to put him out there and people react.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. He doesn't need to specifically go out of his way and kick over some old lady.
For certain values of the audience, he already is a heel.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean. It's just when these people are saying oh, he needs to turn heel, it's well, he kind of already is. I mean, he has his fan base, but I've been putting way more thought into this than I think I should be, but just the Reigns dynamic is very interesting to me, and what people think that they should be doing with them. And I really do feel they don't have to do anything, and I think they realize that. It's he just put him out there, and people react, and people are gonna be emotionally invested when he eventually loses that title.
Yeah.
Regardless of how he goes about losing that title. Mm-hmm. But there is going to be a moment where he does, and people are obviously emotionally invested in the outcome of this character in this universe.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine. I've really kind of come around on him.
Cool.
Anyway, yeah.
At one point in this match, Jimmy whiffs a Samoan drop because AJ goes too high.
Yeah.
It's just sort of funny to watch. The actual match, to be honest, the match itself is not as interesting as what happens after the match.
Yeah.
The match, Styles gets the pin on one of the Usos with the forearm.
Yes.
But then, Ganderson tries to goad AJ into taking a chair shot on Reigns.
Yeah.
Like, they give AJ a chair and they hold Reigns there.
And Reigns looks dead when they're holding him. It's great.
AJ's like, I don't, this feels wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So he makes it clear that he's not going to do this. So then one of the Usos attacks AJ.
Yeah.
Even though AJ hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Just attacks him. So then AJ fights back and hits the Uso.
Yeah, with a chair.
With the chair. And that's what Roman sees. Roman doesn't see, because he's like heads down and he's sort of unconscious.
Yeah.
He doesn't see AJ choosing not to use the chair on him.
Yeah.
He just sees AJ with a chair attacking one of the Usos. So that Reigns mad.
Yeah.
Reigns gets very angry.
I feel like he's really good at emoting, too.
And it's weird, because I feel like this segment makes Reigns and the Usos look bad.
Yeah, like as the bad guys? Is that what you mean?
Because, obviously Gallows and Anderson are not the good guys either.
Yeah.
Right? But because they're like, hey man, come on, do the bad thing. And AJ's like, no, I'm going to take the high road and I'm not going to do the bad thing.
Yeah.
And then we as the crowd have seen that. And then we see the Usos attack the guy who we just saw not do the bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and then we see Reigns also attack him for not realizing that he's trying to be a good dude.
Yeah.
And so it sort of makes Reigns and the Usos look bad.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing comes to a head with Reigns hurling AJ through one of the announce tables.
Yeah. Like I think AJ gets Superman punched when he turns around, because Reigns is looking all angry and hulking up and hits AJ with a Superman punch when he turns around after beating down the Usos, and then he power bombs him through the announce table on the outside. I totally agree with you. Like, this feud between these six men was really kind of they were doing things back and forth, which was kind of flippy-floppy. But, I actually kind of liked it for what it's worth. Even these next 2 weeks, there was one of these crowds, I can't remember if it was next week or the week after, that was, very behind Usos and Reigns.
Yeah.
They were... there was obviously some boos, but it was definitely more cheers than boos.
It's really interesting how stuff can change from city to city.
Yeah. But I don't know. I actually, this, like you said before, this segment was great. I actually loved this after the match.
There's all the stuff with really AJ, interesting storytelling.
Especially going into a match that is Extreme Rules, and AJ is I don't want to use that to beat him.
Yeah.
Even though he's going into a match where he can use anything.
Yeah.
And it's just
Has the match been announced at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
The match got announced at the end of Payback.
Oh.
We knew right after Payback there was that little segment at the end.
Oh, right.
With Vince and Steph and Shane. Yeah. Then we knew that right away that they were going to Extreme Rules.
Yeah, so it's an Extreme Rules match. By the way, this is the only time of the year where they use that as the name of the stipulation.
Yeah.
It's a no disqualification match.
Yeah, it's just a street fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything goes. Except for you have to pin him in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw for May 9th.
Yes.
Jericho opens the show with the highlight reel.
Yep.
And he's talking about how he put Ambrose out of action.
Yeah.
And comparing him to Mitch.
Yeah. He even had the remains of Mitch.
Yeah. And he,
during the segment.
Suggests that people drink it in, once again, drink in the Jericho. Endzone Cass's music hits.
Yeah.
Big Cass comes out.
Dude, the pop he got was ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm so glad they're still letting him do stuff.
Yeah.
He gets up in Jericho's face. He can still talk pretty well, like we said. I love he put Jericho's mic down.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
No, you don't.
And what's Jericho going to do? This guy's huge.
Yeah.
Jericho backs out of the ring and is thereby proclaimed to be soft.
Yeah.
And he gets angry and runs back into the ring and meets a huge kick from Cass. Backstage, he tracks down Steph and is incensed.
Yeah.
And wants Steph to, do his bidding and do, quote, the right thing.
Yeah.
This all falls on Steph's newly deaf ears, And she makes the main event for that night a one-on-one match between Chris Jericho and Big Cass.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that'll be interesting.
Dude, I am 100% behind just keeping Jericho around forever.
Yeah.
For as long as he can perform.
Yeah.
He's so good. I just can't stop. Every time I see him, I'm just like, this guy is like 45 and still one of the best.
Yeah. Next up in the ring is Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler.
Again?
In what happens after the rubber match?
I don't have any idea. Well, it's just like Jericho and AJ went 2-2 against each other.
Yeah.
So I guess
Baron Corbin wins. JBL yells ball game.
Yeah, that's it. I don't even know. Is that the end of that feud? Like, is that over now?
I don't think so. I don't know what's happening, really.
I think they wrestle again.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. It's just like, okay, yeah, they fought each other a few times, and Corbin was a big, mean man, and Ziggler bounced around a lot, and that was pretty much it.
Shane meets with Charlotte and Ric Flair, who are now asking Dad.
Yeah.
Basically, right? It's like, Mom said that Rick couldn't be at ringside, so we're going to go ask Dad. And they're like, hey, Shane, look, like your sister, whatever, come on. And Shane's like, no, that stands.
Yeah.
Furthermore, if Rick comes to the ring, Charlotte loses the title.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we shouldn't have brought this up.
Yeah. We've made a very grave error.
Yeah. In the ring now, we have Fandango versus Truth.
Yeah.
With Goldust and Breeze in their corners, respectively.
Yeah.
And this is setting up for a match that'll be on that week's SmackDown. Truth wins this match. Yeah. This is setting up for a match between Goldango and Gorgeous Truth on that week's episode of SmackDown.
Yes.
Which typically we don't cover.
Nope.
But this seems like as good a time as any.
Yeah.
They have this match, which is, again, it's an actual tag match, during which Tyler Breeze and Fandango turn on their partners, respectively, and start beating the tar out of Truth. And it's this just really cool storytelling moment where Goldust puts himself on top of Truth to protect him from this beatdown. Yeah. And you're like, oh, he does care.
Yeah. It's like, why do they not do this on Raw? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it really got it got the crowd way against Breeze and Fandango, which was sweet. Yeah. And it got the crowd super even more behind this Golden Truth team. Yeah. Right? Which was really cool.
I don't think did they even show
it was just
they didn't even show that clip on any of these Raws. Like the Raw next week, they didn't show that clip.
No, it was part of the big Golden Truth montage.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Which we'll talk about. Yeah. But yeah, that was it was just a really cool little bit of storytelling. Yeah. We cut mid screaming match to backstage. Yeah. Where Steph shouts Owens into silence. Because Owens, it's like we cut backstage and Owens is laying into Steph. Yeah. And she shuts him up, and she makes a triple threat at Extreme Rules. Yeah. With Miz and
Kevin Owens and Cesaro.
Cesaro. And Shane is baffled by Steph being nice.
Yeah. But then Sami Zayn comes in at the end. Yeah. And he's like, I deserve to be in this match. Yeah. And they make a match between Sami Zayn and The Miz. Yeah. For tonight.
And if Zayn wins, then he gets then it'll be a fatal four-way. Yeah. So yes. Hey, Paige is still alive.
Yeah. I was like, hey, Paige. Yeah. You're still here.
So it's Paige versus Charlotte with Natty on commentary, just crapping on JBL the whole time. Yeah. Paige had a really solid fall-away slam. Yep. Which I thought was nice. Rick shows up, and then Shane comes out. Yeah. And Charlotte is distracted, and Paige wins the match.
Yeah. Paige wins.
Weird,
Paige has pinned the women's champion.
Yeah. Because Shane said that Rick shouldn't go down to the ring that night either. Yeah. And he does, and then Shane's like, I wasn't kidding. And it becomes a whole
It's awesome, though. It's like,
thing.
It's that in kayfabe, showing that he's like serious about making this a clean fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like how usually in wrestling they're like, you're banned from ringside, and then so and so just runs down anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well then what's the point? You know? But Shane's like, no.
So the next match is Sammy versus Miz, for Sammy being the Extreme Rules match.
Yep.
And they name the referee.
Really?
Referee John Combe.
Huh.
Yeah. Maybe after the prior week, they were like, is it weird that Charles Robinson's the only ref we ever named? Yeah. Should we name other refs? Yeah. They named referee John Combe. I haven't noticed anything since then. Yeah. But then I know this guy's
weird.
Name, right?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. It's very odd. Zayn wins this match.
Yeah.
With a haluva kick.
Yes.
And so it will now be a fatal 4-way.
Yeah.
At Extreme Rules.
Very excited. I mean, people, Sami Zayn could possibly be the new Daniel Bryan. I don't want to like give him a stamp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just that type of wrestler that we can all kind of get behind. The everyman, you know, that kind of plucky underdog.
Becky's being interviewed backstage.
Yeah.
And then of course Emma shows up to get sort of back and forth, get angry with her. And then boom, Becky gets attacked by Dana Brooke.
Yes.
Now up from NXT, like we said. And this was probably supposed to be leading to a Becky versus Emma match at Extreme Rules, but then Emma had to go out for surgery, and then it sort of left, I guess, Becky and Dana Brooke, but they probably didn't feel like it was that feud was ready for a match at Extreme Rules.
Maybe they just didn't feel
fair.
like comfortable like throwing. Dana is not like a big name in the wrestling community. You know what I mean? Like the only people that would know are people that watch him at NXT. The network only has like 1 million users, right? So that's a very small portion of their fan base.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they just didn't feel comfortable throwing that match on there. Which I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a good thing.
Take your time.
Take your time
Make
with
it
it.
good.
Yeah, make it good.
Next is a promo that I am told was Darren Young's idea and something he's been pushing for a while.
Oh, the Bob Backlund stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darren Young with his new life coach, not wrestling coach, life coach, Bob Backlund. Who's Bob Backlund?
Bob Backlund was a wrestler who was he the WWF World Champion?
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah, for like way back in like the early 80s.
Oh, yeah, like around when like Bruno Sammartino was wrestling.
Maybe it's before then. Is it earlier than then?
No,
around the 80s?
I think so.
It was like pre-Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah.
And then Backlund came back, and I remember this distinctly, that he had a huge feud with Bret Hart in the 90s. And I was like, this was when wrestling was still very real to me. And I remember Backlund and Bret Hart having an I Quit match, and Owen Hart convincing Bret's mother to throw in the towel for Bret when he was in. Backlund's finisher was a cross-face chicken wing, which is just a submission hold. And I remember being crushed when that happened, because Bret Hart was my favorite.
Was Bob Backlund always kind of crazy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was always kind of like...
That's how they've used him since then. Like he's come back a couple times as like a novelty guy. Like, hey, anyone remember Bob Backlund?
Yeah.
Three people in the back? All right, cool. You know?
But I remember like just the Bob Backlund from my childhood, I always like... He kind of weirded me out, and I like really hated him. So he like, I mean, it works, right? But I mean, now he's just kind of like what you said, like
he's a crazy old man.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Hacksaw Jim Duggan now.
Yeah,
and so like, oh yeah.
Apparently, this is a bit that Darren Young's wanted to do for a while, which is have like this life coach, because they have to make it tangentially relevant to pop culture. It's make Darren Young great again.
Yeah,
and.
You know what?
Bob
I
Backlund
actually kind of liked it.
I kind of like it too.
Yeah,
he's the crazy guy who's going to try and give Darren Young his edge back.
Yeah.
Now that even though Titus O'Neil is back from being suspended, I guess the primetime players aren't a going concern anymore.
I don't think so. Like it was weird because like
it bums me out because like I don't like they were champions.
Yeah.
They were tag team champions.
Yeah.
And they were over. People loved them. And then they lost the titles.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah,
gone.
Because didn't they like Titus turned on Darren Young when they broke up originally?
Like way long ago.
Way long ago.
But then they reformed as the. That's what I mean. Like they reformed as the primetime players. But then after they lost the title, they just stopped appearing.
They lost it to the New Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was New Day's first run.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
There's a supremely weird Pizza Hut commercial couched as if it's one of Xavier Woods' Up, Up, Down, Down videos.
Yeah.
I felt weird about it.
Yeah, it was just...
Anyway, Ryder is making his case to Shane.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder. The quote, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
But I don't just want to be here.
Yeah.
I want to do the thing.
Yeah.
Owens interrupts, and he's still angry about the Intercontinental title match.
Yeah.
And so he will have a match versus Zack Ryder on that night.
It's so nice seeing like a babyface person in power messing with a heel.
Yeah.
It's such a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
I love it. I would love to see more of Shane and Kevin Owens.
All I wrote down here was there's an interview with the family, and then an ellipsis, and then I don't like him.
Yeah. It's kind of whatever. Yeah, it just kind of happens. Like, I don't even remember what they said.
Yeah. All right.
I'm trying to remember here. Yeah.
I miss Lana's suits.
Yeah.
But the outfit she's wearing tonight at least is not denim. She's no longer denim Lana.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Matchka time.
Did you? Oh yeah, never mind. That happens at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
When they were like saying when they were interviewing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. But that's so good.
It's a match versus Sin Cara.
Yeah.
Rusev already is the #1 contender for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this match is supposed to be for.
Just for Rusev to scare.
It's him kicking the tar out of Sin Cara.
Just
while Kalisto watches from ringside.
Yeah.
But Sin Cara steals the match.
Yeah, which I thought was weird.
Very strange.
Like, I was like, wait,
with like
what?
a roll-up. And I don't know how Sin Cara would ever have the power to do anything to Rusev.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But,
well, I mean,
again, we talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Like, the idea that a small guy can't beat a big guy is dumb because this is wrestling and it's a cartoon. But, but, you know, it was just sort of weird to be like, oh, hey, Sin Cara won. Nice.
Yeah, it's like, good job, good for you, buddy. Like, just every now and again, we do need to be reminded, like, regardless of how they were building up Rusev, they were building him up as, like, just this Godzilla, like what they were doing before.
Yeah.
Before WrestleMania, after his loss to Cena.
Yeah.
Rusev was this bulldozer, and I've actually thought that I mean, I still have 2 weeks of Raw to watch.
Yeah.
But I feel like, especially at Extreme Rules, they did a really good job of making Rusev great again.
Yeah. Next is, you know, before I just didn't care about Puerto Rico. Now I actively don't want to go.
Yeah.
If it's full of these guys.
Yeah.
There's another promo for the Shining Star of the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. Whoever they are, they still haven't said, debut next week.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I mean, like we said before, like every one of these promos were like, how are we supposed to react to these guys?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
It'll be
Boy,
great.
do we ever find out.
Next is a 3v3 elimination tag match.
Yes.
What is an elimination tag match?
Elimination tag match is that when one of your teammates gets pinned, they are sent to the locker room, and the match continues until one side is completely eliminated.
Yes. So it is the family versus the club.
Yeah. They haven't started using the bloodline yet, have they?
No, I don't think so. And Uso gets eliminated.
Yeah.
Then Carl Anderson gets eliminated. Then the other Uso gets eliminated, and it's 2-1 AJ and Gallows versus Roman.
Yes.
Coman manages to get Gallows.
Yep.
So it's 1v1. AJ just goes nuts.
Yeah.
On Reigns.
Awesome.
They fight to the outside. Anderson comes back and hits Reigns with a chair.
Yeah.
So there's a DQ, and then the Usos attack the club. Reigns looks insane as he grabs a chair and is about to go after Ganderson.
Yeah.
But Styles kicks him, and he tries to Styles clash Reigns onto a chair.
Yeah.
But isn't able to
pull the trigger
to get there.
Yeah.
And then they just sort of pose with the chair.
Yeah. Like I said before, like Reigns is really good at emoting.
Yeah.
He's very good at facial expressions. And when I see him being mad, I actually kind of believe it. Mm-hmm. Like, wow, he looks really pissed off.
Yeah.
You're angry.
The Ryder versus Owens match is next. Woo, woo, woo. Obviously, Owens wins, but Ryder comes out looking very good.
Yes.
I'm just glad he's
still in the mix, right?
Me too.
And hopefully, with the brand split, maybe he'll get more time to shine.
He's what the OSW review guys would refer to as my boy.
Yeah.
I like Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Cass is backstage being very serious.
Yep.
And then in the ring is the New Day, joking about the Vaudevillains.
Yeah.
Or is it the Vaudevillains? Or is it the Vaudevillains?
Yeah.
How do you? They joke about the name.
Yeah.
And they also reference that the Vaudevillains harken back to a time that they feel was better. You know, a time when men were men, and things, to quote the New Day, were not great for people like us. Smartphone users.
Yeah.
Right? I loved that. I love that they were like, yeah, the early 1900s. That's a time we can get behind. I like that they lampshaded it. It was like, yeah, back when everyone was racist. That was great. That was a great time.
Yeah, that was
Why
awesome.
do we want to go to that time?
Yeah.
It's a match actually with the New Days versus the Dudleys.
Yeah.
And the Vaudevillains run in during a trombone solo. Yeah. And F up the New Day a little bit, allowing Devon to get the pin.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
That's the first win the Dudleys have had in a while, too.
Yeah.
If I think about it, like...
leading to more Vaudevillain beatdown on Kofi.
Yep.
And their finisher, which I've now discovered is called the Whirling Dervish.
Yes. I like it.
It's a terrific name.
Great name.
It's very in keeping.
Yeah.
So, the main event Big Cass versus Chris Jericho.
Yep.
I was actually super excited to see this match.
So was
I'm
I.
kind of bummed we didn't actually get to see it. Spoilers, we didn't get to see it. Because Jericho enters, and then he's doing his thing with the jacket, which is with all the lights.
Yeah.
And while the lights are out, you can see someone attacks him, takes the jacket, and then puts the jacket on.
Yeah.
And the lights come up, and it's Dean Ambrose is now in the ring with the jacket. And it's weird, because Big Cass comes out first.
Yeah.
And after the jacket thing happens, I'm like, where did he go? He's a big guy.
Yeah.
How did we lose him? And he's there. He's just sort of at ringside.
Yeah.
Jericho's freaking out because it's like a $15,000 jacket.
Yeah.
So he says, which is obviously an inflated number, but whatever.
I wonder how much that jacket actually costs.
It's probably legitimately a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
But not $15,000. And he's got more than one.
Yeah.
Right. Cass beats up Jericho and throws him into the ring for Dean, and Dean hits the dirty deeds, and Jericho sells it like a champ.
Yep.
And that's the end of
I'll give
that.
people credit one thing. Like, everybody that's been selling the dirty deeds has been like, I've been
Dead.
shot. Yeah. So it's great.
And then we cut backstage to Shane and Steph laughing at Jericho, going, $15,000. Man, what an idiot. And they're being amiable, and Shane's like, all right, cool, I'm going to take off. And then Steph looks at the picture of Shane and Vince, and then sort of looks after Shane leaving. And initially I was like, oh, this is going to be like the dun dun dun, like the crazy eyes. But she actually looked kind of happy, kind of like,
okay,
we have a functioning family again.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
It could go.
And I'm sure that eventually someone will turn on somebody.
Yeah.
But for now, I am bought into the idea that Steph, in character, is actually on board with it.
Yeah, like she's actually trying.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. You know what I mean? It's such a nice change of pace from the Stephanie we've had. Mm-hmm. As great as that Steph is, and as good as she is on the mic, you got to change sometime, right?
Yeah.
And I think they've, especially these last two episodes, they're really good with it.
Yeah.
Like, just even, and watching Ambrose like poke her, and she's like, I still got a bit of bite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm trying to be nice,
but give,
yeah, come on.
You're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw for May 16th.
Yes.
AJ opens the show.
Yeah.
Yes. It's talks about the club. It's the club, if that hasn't been mentioned, that it's the club.
The club. Hashtag the club.
Yeah. He talks about how he's headlined the Tokyo Dome in front of 60,000 people.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damn good.
That's pretty good, but he didn't mention that he was at WrestleMania 32 in front of 100,000 people.
He's trying to talk about the stuff he's done outside the Dome.
I know, but it's just funny that when they mention stuff like that, I was like, weren't you?
So he was the main event at the Tokyo Dome. So
Okay,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's a "We Want Rollins" chant.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Sorry. AJ, you are phenomenal at lying.
No. Sorry, that was Roman for everybody.
Yeah, sure was. Was that not clear?
Yeah. That wasn't AJ
across?
giving himself a pep talk. And AJ, you are phenomenal.
No, it was
At lying.
Roman Reigns says you are phenomenal at lying because he doesn't believe.
Can you please splice in the actual audio for that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And AJ, you are phenomenal at lying.
He just, God, it's like, do you think he's that heavily scripted?
Yeah.
Or do you think that, like, he's proven that he can talk?
Yeah. I think he just has a lot of trouble with. I think there's a breakdown somewhere in whoever's writing for him and his ability to deliver what's being written
In the way that they're trying to convey?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because I mean, like, somewhere in there is a breakdown of something's not working.
Yeah.
And it's not changing.
And we have to, like,
Tater tots.
we have to cut some slack because one take.
Yeah.
Doing it live.
Yeah, but I mean,
Fuck it.
Everyone else.
I know what you mean. Like, some people are really good at it.
Even AJ, who, we've said has never been known as a promo guy, has been doing great recently.
Yeah.
I mean, except for.
Well, I mean, people have commented.
Except for the truth is, it isn't what it is.
The day we said, or the episode we said that, there was a lot of people like, oh, I really liked his stuff in TNA and stuff like that. So, I mean, again, it's personal opinion, right? Like, some people like it, some people are like, oh, it's okay.
And again, just to be clear, what we're talking about there is like people like Chris Jericho are like, man, Jericho's great in the ring, but oh man, he's so awesome on the mic, right?
Yeah.
AJ Styles is like, And it's an amazing ring worker.
Yeah.
No one talks about his mic skills, right? It's not like he's known for
it's like, first, when you say, like, first thing comes to your head when I mention this person's name. Like, AJ Styles, like, amazing wrestler.
Roman claims that the bloodline, they're now the bloodline, is stronger than the club.
Yeah.
Ganderson comes out. Reigns takes a cheap shot on AJ.
Yeah.
The bloodline are not the good guys.
Yeah.
In this.
They really are.
I think this is going well. I mean, it's weird, right? Because, again, kids especially love the Usos.
Yeah.
Because they're jumpy and they're cool and they're happy and affable and all that stuff. And, but they're not being good guys.
No, they're not.
Which I think is super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is a different side of the Usos that we haven't seen for like a year. Mm-hmm. They've been exactly the way you described them.
Yeah.
For as long as I've been watching them.
They've had basically no character. They've just been doing flippy, jumpy stuff and being happy about it.
Yeah.
They do the haka when they come in. That's cool. Not the haka. It's a different
thing.
Different thing. Similar.
But yeah, they were the kind of guys that like, oh, we lost. Shucks. Well, at least we tried really hard.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. But now it's like they've got I don't know if Gallows and Anderson have brought it out of them, like as far as workers talking to each other, but they seem to have more of an edge now.
Yeah. Miz and Kevin Owens come out.
Yep.
And they are going to be ringside at a match between Sami Zayn and Cesaro.
Yeah.
During the match, Owens attacks the Miz.
Yeah, just like pops
at the announce table. Shane comes out, and then Steph comes out, and they change it up so that it's going to be Miz and Cesaro versus Owens and Zayn on a team.
Yeah.
And Owens isn't allowed to leave. Because apparently this is a problem
This is a thing.
He's like, I'm not going to be partners with Sami Zayn. I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
And if he does that, then he'll be out of the match at Extreme Rules.
Well, that was the build-up to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Where he was being tagged with, like, The Miz and... God, who else was he being tagged with? I can't remember the other heel in that. Maybe it was just The Miz, and he would just walk out on him.
Yeah.
There's somebody else, but now the name it's slipping me at the moment. But he would routinely,
Stardust?
Yeah. He would routinely just leave the tag matches. He'd be like, "I'm done here."
The match eventually falls apart, as you might expect. Cesaro and Miz hit their finishers back and forth. Zayn eventually gets the pin.
Yeah.
Owens takes out Zayn, and so goes life.
Yes. And thus the eternal struggle continues.
Yes. Renee talks to Jericho backstage about what Dean wants, because Dean wants to talk to Jericho in the ring.
Yeah.
And Jericho is expecting an apology for, in his infinite optimism, is expecting an apology for wrecking his jacket. Next up, all those Puerto Rico promos.
Oh yeah, here's the payoff. Yes,
the Shining Star of the Caribbean. Oh, the tag team is called the Shining Stars. Oh, that's stupid. When it came up on the Titantron, I was like, is that what they're going with?
Yeah.
Because they still haven't said their names.
Yeah, they haven't said Primo or Epico.
Who they are.
Yeah.
This is how to completely mishandle a debut. I don't understand why no one didn't see this.
Yeah.
They've been doing this shit for years.
Yeah.
Because guess what? These two guys come out. We don't know anything about their character. We don't even know their names. Unsurprisingly, as you called it in the previous episode, nobody cares.
It was awkward.
Nobody reacted at all.
Yeah.
They even got, and they haven't done this in ages, they even got local jobbers.
Oh, right.
It was the Shining Stars, Primo and Epico versus Scott Jackson and Brian Kennedy, two local indie North Carolina wrestlers.
Yeah.
They used to do this a lot, like when Ryback was on his undefeated streak.
Yeah.
Every week it'd be like Ryback versus random local guy who doesn't work for the company who you've never heard, who they'll pay a couple $1,000s to show up and get shell-shocked by Ryback.
Yeah.
Right? They used to do this frequently.
Yeah.
They haven't done it in a very, very long time.
When I was growing up, this was all Big Boss Man versus some random local guy.
Dave Kordetsky.
Yeah. Or like Mr. Perfect versus Brian Wolf, or something like that. And it's just like...
some dude in trunks.
Yes.
And so this is...
And that guy wouldn't do a single move.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
And they come out and they have like a flower...
Yeah.
And they talk about like the flower and how Puerto Rico is a flower. Mm-hmm. And their in-ring work is fine.
It's fine.
But holy shit.
Their finisher is great. It's
what was it?
Well, I mean, there was a team in ECW called the Eliminators, and their finisher was called the Total Elimination, and one of them does like a back sweep on their legs, and the other one does like a spinning heel kick at the same time.
Right.
It's kind of like the Fall of Man by the Ascension,
Right.
except instead of like the elbow, the other guy does like just a kick.
Yeah, but the crowd doesn't care.
No, they just
because
we don't know.
After weeks of promos, they've given us no reason to care about these guys.
Can you imagine years of promos?
Years of promos.
How mad would you be if it was years of promos and then they came out to nothing?
Pretty mad. Speaking of which, now we get a promo for some guy named John Cena.
Must be new.
He'll be returning.
Must be nice to just debut on the main roster and skip NXT, eh?
Yeah. John Cena is coming back
Bra-ba-ba-doo!
on the Memorial Day episode of Raw. Which will be next episode.
You know what? I'm actually excited to see John Cena back.
I'm curious how he will fit in the current dynamic.
Yeah.
Dean comes out. Jericho wants an apology.
Yeah.
But that's not what Dean wanted Jericho out there for. No.
Oh, no.
Dean is challenging Jericho
Yeah.
to a match at Extreme Rules. But what kind of match, you say? A no DQ match? No. A street fight? No. Where's Extreme Rules taking place? New Jersey? A New Jersey parking lot brawl or something?
Yeah.
No. It's an asylum match.
Jesus. When I first heard this, I was just like...
What is an asylum match? Well, the asylum match was first held in 2016 at Extreme Rules in Newark, New Jersey. This is a totally new kind of match.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's the steel cage from a steel cage match.
Yeah.
Except, unlike a steel cage match, the door is locked and you don't... So, in a steel cage match, the cage is there and you win by escaping the cage. Or you can win by escaping the cage. You can pin the guy.
Well, it used to be just escaping the cage.
Yeah. Then it was like pinfall submission or escaping the cage.
Yeah.
Either through the door, which gets opened once and then locked forever. It's very confusing. Don't worry about it. It's a really stupid rule.
Yeah.
Or climbing over. This match, it's only pinfall or submission. You're in the cage. Escaping the cage doesn't do anything. And there's a bunch of weird weaponry hanging from... I'll give you a complete rundown when we get to Extreme Rules. Hanging from the thing. And the music, when they're lowering the thing in, is so over the top. It's like this... It's like Halloween spooky sound effects. It's like side 2 of the cassette.
I was just gonna say, you put in your deck player, and then you like during Halloween, kids come trick or treating or something. You got it like sitting behind, and you got like a bowl full of grapes, and you're like, oh, and these are the witch's eyes. Yeah, I mean, even a lot of people, even skipping forward a little bit to Extreme Rules, a lot of people did not like this match. I actually really liked it, which I will explain to you for different reasons other than it was a good wrestling match.
Yeah.
But when they announced it, I was like,
what? Okay.
It's that look where you're like,
weird.
That could be dumb.
Yeah.
It sounds dumb.
Yeah.
It sounded dumb.
Because this follows on an episode of SmackDown where Chris Jericho attacked Dean Ambrose and put him in a straitjacket.
Yes.
Because he's so crazy.
I think they did it even on... Was there any episodes of Raw where he had it? Or was it just SmackDown? Yeah, it was
just
SmackDown.
Because in the SmackDown after this, Jericho had a security detail, and then one of them got in the ring with him and took off his wig and beard, and it was Ambrose.
Oh.
Surprise. Anyway.
Okay.
We see Dana Brooke and Becky walking to the ring in sort of like the backstage split screen.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah.
And then it goes to just the shot of Dana and this guy backstage, like some random dude who cannot act to save his life, tries to hit on Dana and she shoots him down. But he's like, hey there, baby. Like, whew.
Hello, female.
Like, you can get someone who can deliver lines. Anyway, they have a match. Dana and Becky. Emma. They now announce that Emma's sidelined with an injury. And Dana just barely wins. Yeah, and that's the match.
That's the match.
Nothing really happens there. There's another Darren Young, Bob Backlund segment. He's old and doesn't understand what a smartphone is. Shane and Steph are backstage being amiable.
Yep.
The Dudleys come in. They want to have a match just to show off. This I find actually hilarious because I don't know who backstage is making fun of who. Because the Dudleys are like, we just want to have, like a tune-up match. Like, just, find us some local jobbers or whatever. And Shane and Steph say, we don't do that anymore.
Didn't they just do that?
3 segments prior, they did that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know who's making fun of who here, but someone just got savagely wrecked. I don't get it. Yeah. But anyway, they say, no, you idiots. One of you has to have a real match. So one of you gets to fight Big Cass.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Oh
we have a retrospective.
Oh, this is
story
so good.
Of the Golden Truth.
Yeah. I loved this.
It's so weird, and it's played for laughs, but played seriously, and it's great. Yeah. It's this loving montage of the story of Golden Truth, culminating in, that bit on SmackDown. They finally debut with their own outfits and their own intro and title and everything.
R-Truth gets a rap again, and Goldust stands around real awkwardly saying what's up.
And the crowd is into it.
Yeah, it was great.
So into it.
Yeah.
Breeze Hungo.
Breeze,
come out. JBL talks about making a bigger comeback than Jon Snow, which is like, dude, this is Monday night. This is the next night. JBL doesn't know what a spoiler warning is.
But I am Groot.
But he's...
Oh my god.
The match doesn't go well for the Golden Truth.
No, they lose.
They sort of take each other out.
Yeah.
Because they have
But this is great. This is awesome.
They backstage, Goldust is like, "Oh, this isn't going to work. We have no chemistry." And Truth is like, "No. It's like we just need to gel more. Like the WWE universe wants the Golden Truth, and you can hear the arena cheering for it. Yeah. And they do. The universe does want the Golden Truth, and I'm just
funny how when you do a storyline right, and people just like will get behind it regardless of if some of the segments fall flat. Like we have an actual story that we've been following for the last 4 months,
something like
3-4 months, something like that.
Just little bits here and there.
Yeah.
The New Day want to understand
oh my God, this is so
the Vaudevillains better. So Xavier Woods has built a time machine. He and Kofi are adamant that this is a time machine. Yeah. Big E is adamant that this is a refrigerator box with a bunch of shit glued to it. Xavier Woods is like, no man, it's a time machine. Big E is like, it categorically is not a time machine. I just love that Big E is completely sandbagging this.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and rather than detracting from it, it just makes it so much better.
This is the new DeLorean.
Yeah.
And
so they go in, right?
Go in.
And then they come out.
So wibbly. Yeah. Just Kofi comes out to his old music.
Yeah.
The SOS. Yeah. He comes out and he's like, hey, it's Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Boom, boom. He's doing the boom, boom thing. Yeah. And they try to grab him and pull him back. And he's like, no, it's 2009. This is my best year. Yeah. Leave me here.
Wasn't that what that story you told me about how Vince wrestled him and then he got that push against Randy Orton and stuff? That's amazing.
They did this angle.
That made that funnier for me because I wasn't watching wrestling and I was like, oh, Graham talked about that. Yeah, okay.
They did this angle where Randy was friends with a NASCAR driver, and Randy got given a NASCAR.
Yeah.
Like this with the custom paint job, the Viper and everything. And they did this bit where this is after Kofi dropped the accent, where he's backstage and Randy's in the ring, and then you get one of those hey Randy, guess what? And Randy's like, ooh, I'm backstage with your car, and I have all this paint, and he just chucks a bunch of paint over Randy's new car, and Randy loses his mind in the ring, and they were feuding
I miss
for a while.
Randy Orton.
He'll be back, I assume.
Isn't it neck surgery?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. So they come back out of the new DeLorean, and it's black and white, and they have mustaches.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a box of derriere squares.
They have one of those the phones. Yeah. And he's like, no, my smartphone. And then Xavier Woods is like, there's no video games!
It's pretty great.
It's awesome.
The Vaudevillains come out and attack the New Day and beat them down.
And smash the New DeLorean apart. And it's great.
Yeah.
The whole segment was awesome.
That was really good.
The 2009 joke was just perfect.
No, leave me here. It was my best year. Next is a tag match that, if I'm honest, doesn't really interest me. It's Gallows and Anderson versus the Usos.
Oh yeah, we've seen it like so many times.
Yeah, and it's because they've been doing all those 3-on-3 matches, and the Usos are fine. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
And Gallows and Anderson are sweet, but I'm just like, oh, I legit don't care who wins this match because it's not going to have any effect on anything.
Yeah. It seems weird that they have all these tag teams now, and they're still just throwing these two at each other, especially when they're fighting at Extreme Rules.
Especially because, and this isn't just a tag match, it's a tag match with AJ and Reigns at ringside.
Yeah, there's this really weird, is this the moment where one of the Usos is outside and he's like, I got my eyes on you, AJ, and then Uso turns around and gets kicked by Gallows?
I think so.
And then the commentary team was like, oh, AJ distracted him. It was like, no. The Uso was threatening AJ and said, hey, I got my eyes on you.
The Usos, because eventually the Usos win.
Yeah.
And Reigns is being a big dick about it.
Yeah.
And walks towards AJ. So then Gallows attacks Reigns from behind and leaves, the ring clears, and there's AJ alone with a chair again.
Yeah.
And he goes to hit, he's like, you know what? Fine.
Yeah.
he's finally broken. He's like, fine. And he goes to hits Reigns with the chair, but Reigns catches him with an uppercut.
Yeah.
Beats up AJ. It's attacked by Gallows again. Superman punches Anderson and Gallows. And then AJ finally gets Reigns with the chair, and Styles clashes him onto the chair.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of the go home for that match at Extreme Rules. But the actual match part was very weird.
Yeah.
Big Cass has a brief match against Devon.
Yep. Wins that one.
Yep.
Yep.
Kalisto versus Del Rio.
Yeah.
Sort of weirdly, randomly.
Yeah.
I guess we're just we really are redoing the Rey Mysterio storyline.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Del Rio seems lost at the moment.
Yeah.
Not really doing anything.
JBL and Byron. So JBL, you know how JBL likes to call Del Rio Mexico's greatest export?
Yeah.
Byron, I think it's Byron, says, I know a lot of people in Mexico, John, and Kalisto's a big star there. Just like, Kalisto's cool too, John.
Yeah.
Okay, Byron, whatever. Cut to...
My girlfriend in Canada.
You cut to Sin Cara watching the match backstage. Like, you frequently have... it'll cut to someone watching on a monitor backstage.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, hey, look, Sin Cara's watching the match. And nothing happens. This time, something happened.
Yeah.
Rusev happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rusev beats up Sin Cara backstage.
Yeah.
And Kalisto, in the ring, punishes Del Rio for the whistling.
Yeah!
Because he's hanging off the thing, and Del Rio goes up and is like... because he's about to do the stomp, and then Kalisto just kicks him.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're in a grandstand, I'm just good.
Yeah.
Rusev kicks Sin Cara all the way down to the ring, and then puts Kalisto in the accolade.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're just still they're working very hard at making Rusev this big, mean Bulgarian brute again.
And then we have, this is a weird sort of final segment for the show.
Yeah.
Shane and Steph are just sort of being great.
Yeah.
Rick comes out, introduces Charlotte. Natty comes out, rips on Charlotte.
Yep.
Rick B's insane.
Yeah.
Like, he starts doing, like, the taking off his jacket and, like, just sort of, like, going nuts.
Out. Yeah.
And then Raw is over.
Yeah, that was it. It was just like...
It was very strange.
What did I just watch?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was very, very odd.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't exactly have the highest of hopes heading into Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
From a storyline perspective, like, I didn't think anything was going to... There wasn't going to be any, like, advancing.
There was also no, like... Extreme Rules used to be the time when they would, like, sort of put out, like, the sweet matches,
Yeah.
And, like, they'd be like, well, this is our time to actually have, crazy matches.
Yeah.
And apart from the potential of the Asylum match, I was like, the only thing that an Extreme Rules match is going to have, as far as AJ and Reigns is concerned, is that the Usos and Ganderson are going to get involved.
Pretty much.
There's a Fatal 4-Way, which is not extreme. There's a submission match, which is just, like, the least extreme stipulation you could have.
Yeah.
So from the selling point of the Extreme Rules as a pay-per-view, I was like, But there was some good stuff. The kickoff show, just very, very briefly, the Dudleys come out and talk for a bit.
Yeah.
Big Cass comes out and gives them food-based smack talk.
Yeah.
Just all sort of food puns, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if talking down to ECW is going to endear you to ECW smarks, but that's fine. He sort of rips on them for ECW stuff.
Yeah.
and there's no match. They just talk.
Yeah.
And there is one match on the kickoff show, which is Corbin and Ziggler again.
Yeah. They fight for a bit. The ending comes when Corbin gives Ziggler just a monstrous low blow. Like, it looks like... I thought he really hit him.
Yeah.
Because it looks bad.
Yeah.
And then low blow, and then an end of days, and Corbin wins. So I thought that was the end. Apparently they wrestled again.
Why?
In these last 2 weeks. Okay. I don't know.
Maybe they're just like working together?
I don't know, man. But I wanted to touch on the Rusev-Lana interview segment.
Oh, yeah. So this is
good.
during the kickoff show. Multiple times they go back to the social media lounge.
Yeah.
Where it's Ask Rusev.
Yeah.
And
he's like, at one point, I can't remember who's the guy who does the interviews. I can't remember his name.
It's not Tom Phillips this time,
no.
is it?
I think it is Tom Phillips.
Oh, it's Tom Phillips again? Yeah. Because he wasn't there for Payback.
I think it is him. I'm not sure. Anyway. But Rusev, he's like, I got 3 questions for you. And Rusev's like, start with the third one. And then at one point they ask, one of the questions is, what does Matchka mean? And they just tear into the Americans and how, like, you have Google, open a book, God damn it, like, please do something.
Stupid Americans.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I just loved it. And Rusev wasn't really talking with an accent.
Yeah.
Which I found kind of weird, but I was like, oh.
There was a bit, I think I told you about this, there was a bit a while ago, like a year and a half ago, where there was an episode of Raw that like half the performers didn't make it to because of crazy snowstorms.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
and
that was the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar build-up.
Right. Lana posted to her Instagram in character because they'd been snowed in wherever they were.
Yeah.
Just basically being like, stupid Americans, that this much snow will put you out of, like, will make things stop working. Back in Russia, we had, it was just really good.
That's awesome.
And now, live from Newark, New Jersey, presented by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, it's Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
The hype video is all about how we make our own rules, which is thematically confusing.
Yes.
It's just sort of weird. It's like, it's not... Extreme Rules is meant to be that matches are extreme.
Yeah.
There's no rules, but this is about there are rules, but you break the rules and you make your own rules.
Yeah.
But then the rules that you make are extreme rules.
Who watches The Watchmen, Graham?
Michael Cole, JBL, Byron Saxon at ringside.
Yep.
Spanish announce table, German announce table, and the cavalcade of other languages off to the side.
This is just like this year, right?
Yeah.
Like
this is a new thing.
They do the big panning, like never-ending announcing, and then we always get to see Funaki, which I'm always psyched about.
Yeah,
Funaki. Like so
opening is the Usos versus the Club in a tornado tag team match.
Got it. Tornado tag match is so old school. Yeah, I loved it.
I would like to see more of these.
Yeah.
It's what a tornado tag team match is it's just a 2-on-2 match.
Yeah.
It's just all 4 men. It's 2 teams of 2. All 4 men are legal at all times.
Yeah.
So it's just a fight.
It's 2-on-2. Fight. Yeah, it's
great.
It's a real slobberknocker.
JBL notes that people are booing the Usos because of their association with Roman Reigns.
Does he?
He says that out loud. That people have started to boo the Usos because they're buddies with Reigns and people boo Reigns.
But we're not booing Reigns, we're cheering Reigns, right? We're just messing with the...
remember that some people like to boo Reigns because he's a divisive champion.
But I mean, like, even the one time he said, this crowd, they boo people they like to cheer and cheer people they like to boo.
I don't know. This, by the way, in contrast with the match from the previous Raw, I'm much more into this match. I don't know what it is. They're just putting on a really good show.
Dude, Gallows and Anderson look like absolute monsters in this match.
This is a sweet match.
There's a apron boot of doom, where Anderson jumps off the apron onto the outside. They get Jay isolated for most of the match, and Anderson murders him in the corner with like this running kick. And there's a nice little spine buster by Carl Anderson, which is like throwback to Arn Anderson. It's the same way he did his.
Which, all of this, by the way, speaking of JBL, does this seem... what's happening to the Usos?
Yeah.
Does this seem fun to you?
Like, do you mean in the terms of them getting beat up?
Yeah. Does that seem like it would be fun?
No.
So why does JBL why is he adamant that the Usos are just having fun? Why does he keep saying they're just having fun, Michael? Why does he keep saying that it completely denudes the threat of the match when he's like, the Usos are out here having fun. They're like, no, they're not. They're getting their ass kicked, and even when they have the upper hand in this match, it's still hard.
Yeah.
This is not fun. It's good though.
Yeah.
Gallows grabs the ring bell.
Yeah.
Calling for right Uso, Jimmy, to get back up because he wants to hit him with the bell. But then he gets super kicked.
Yeah.
And they go to Jimmy goes to the top rope to do a top rope maneuver. Gallows rolls out of the way with the bell still, rolls off the bell.
Yeah.
Jimmy lands on the bell.
Yeah.
And then he's so winded from that they hit him with the magic killer.
Yeah.
And they get the 1-2-3.
Ball game.
Gallows and Anderson win.
Yep.
Solid match.
It was a great. Oh God! I even said it on Twitter. I love how intense Luke Gallows is in that ring. Just the way he handles himself and the way he's screaming, and he's just like, man, that guy really wants to hurt somebody. And then Anderson was just a force of nature in that ring. Just he's athletic and he moves well, and I believed that they were in a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Really,
great.
really good.
I'm so excited for these guys moving forward.
Going into the Kalisto-Rusev match for the U.S. title, apparently Rusev strained Kalisto's back by doing the accolade.
Kayfabe or for real?
Kayfabe.
Okay.
But apparently the storyline is that Kalisto's strained his back.
Yeah.
Lana gets to announce Rusev again, which is nice.
That's great.
So she announces the Bulgarian brute.
Yep.
At one point, Kalisto actually, without really ducking that much, gets under one of Rusev's spin kicks, which is impressive. That it Kalisto's agility, but also Rusev's flexibility, that his leg can go high enough that Kalisto can just sort of whoop underneath it, which I really
Rusev
like.
is very athletic, for a big guy. Yeah, there's actually a part in the beginning of this match where Rusev just Kalisto goes for that little corkscrew thing, and Rusev just swats him out of the air. He's just like, no. This is like a classic speed versus power match.
He's doing a lot of kicking Rusev in the legs to try and slow him down.
Yeah.
Rusev puts him in the rack.
Yeah, I wrote that here. I was like, torture rack!
Holds him there to work the back. But Kalisto manages to
They name dropped Lex Luger.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
which was
good.
Weird.
Yeah.
Kalisto managed to slip down and turn it into a sleeper hold.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then what was it that actually... What happened that necessitated because again, this was a storyline injury, but what necessitated the medical official coming to check on Kalisto?
Well, first, the match kind of goes on, and at one point, Rusev slams Kalisto onto the apron. And that's what triggers the back injury. And he slams him on the apron, and the ref's like, yo, get back. I thought I was believing it. I was like, holy shit, is he actually hurt?
Well, because one pay-per-view ago, we saw the medical staff come out to talk to Enzo, right?
And Rusev keeps on trying to go over and kicking him, and the ref's like, no, man. Come on, dude, I'm trying. He's hurt. But I mean, in kayfabe, and Rusev just won't give up, and he drags Kalisto into the ring.
This is while the ref and the medical professional are examining Kalisto.
Yeah.
Grabs him and drags him in.
Yeah. And then he gives him a big old stomp on the back and then gives him the worst accolade I've ever seen.
Yeah. He puts him in the accolade and then
just
goes
rolls backwards.
Yeah. And Kalisto has no choice.
Yeah, he has to tap out. And we have a new U.S. champion.
Yeah, Rusev with the win.
Actually, before this pay-per-view, I actually called no title changes.
No.
Yeah. But
been wrong.
Yeah, but I loved this ending.
Yeah.
It was intense. I was actually like, holy shit, is he actually hurt? I was actually like, oh my God, stop, man. I believed it. Yeah, it was great. Rusev is back.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Next is the Tag Team Championship match.
Yeah.
No stipulations, just Tag Team Championship match.
Yeah.
The New Day defending against the Vaudevillains.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods makes a Hamilton reference about his shot. Big E is holding farm implements because they're
what farm implements, Graham?
Well, they're hoes, as it happens.
Yeah.
Because they're about to bury 2 hoes in New Jersey.
I named one of them. One of them's named Aiden English, and the other one is named Simon Gotch. And we are going to bury 2 hoes in the ground.
Gotch and English, by the way, look awesome. Their outfits for this pay-per-view are different from Payback. And they're super sweet.
Yeah.
This I found really interesting.
Yeah.
Kofi is sitting this one out.
Yeah.
It is Big E and Xavier Woods. Now, the reason I find this interesting is because this is New Day's first title defense in months.
Yeah.
Because they weren't defending at Mania,
Yeah,
right?
no.
This is their first actual title defense in a very long time. And
Wait, no, well, they defended against Y2AJ.
on Raw?
Yeah, like after WrestleMania. No, it wasn't. It was before WrestleMania. Never mind, you're right.
A couple Raws before Mania, yeah.
I'm not even thinking right. Okay,
But
yeah.
in storyline, now we've talked before about how Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed, a.k.a. Consequences Creed, is a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
But in storyline, as far as the New Day is concerned, he is positioned as the weakest.
Yeah.
He's the mouth.
Yeah.
Right? And Big E is the power, and Kofi is the agility, and Xavier Woods, while competent, is positioned as the weakest of the three.
Yeah.
And so it is curious to me that they are putting him in their first title defense in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that says if they're trying to go with something for it, but
Do you think that's reading too far into it?
I think maybe. I think it's weird that they made that choice. Like, I think it would be reading too much into it to make an assertion like, because the New Day doesn't consider the Vaudevillains a real threat.
Okay.
Right? I think that would be going maybe a little too far. But I think it's at least curious to note that it is Xavier Woods and Big E.
There's actually, right off the bat, Xavier Woods does his like Hadouken when he hits. I think it's Aiden English or Simon. I think it's English. And Byron Saxton on commentary goes, "Geez, he's downright fierce."
Oh, Byron.
Yes.
Byron's been on Up, Up, Down, Down a couple times.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Good job, Byron.
Yeah, it was great. I popped pretty hard. I was like, oh man.
Real quick for the non-fighting game people at home.
The motion for the Hadouken, which is generally the fireball, is you hold down and then you roll the stick right and then press one of the punches, but fierce is one of the buttons.
Fierce punch.
So downright fierce, yeah.
They call me Hadouken because I'm downright fierce.
I'm also single, ladies.
Props, by the way, to Aiden English for making it look believable that he has a shot against Big E.
Yeah.
Because
Aiden's not a small dude.
He's not small, but he's wiry.
Yeah.
And Big E is the size of a house.
Yes.
Right? And it's not like the Kalisto-Rusev thing where Kalisto's like, I got to use my speed and agility.
Yeah.
Like, Aiden English is just like, no, we're fighting.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Yeah. Big E hits a couple belly to bellies. Mm-hmm. Booty to bellies.
Booty to belly.
And a big splash to Aiden English. Gotch has a moment where he just throws Big E into the steps, and it just always looks impressive because Big E's just so big. You know, his name's Big E, but when you throw that much meat into steel steps, it just like the sound it makes and everything is great. Woods actually kicked out of the Whirling Dervish.
Yeah,
which I was like, whoa, because I think they made a point of mentioning that nobody is kicked out of it leading up to this match.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember.
And not only that, Woods gets the pin.
Yeah, because Kofi kicks Gotch in the head, which I was like, man, I'm still okay with the New Day cheating. It's like strength in numbers, you know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, there's three of us. What do you expect?
So when I said earlier, it's interesting they put him in because he's like storyline the weakest.
Yeah.
This match has established Woods as just as much of a competitor as the other two.
And Woods does like this running knee kind of thing. Kind of like what Daniel Bryan used to do, but just the opponent's on the ground.
Yeah.
So yeah, New Day
Pretty
retains
sweet.
to the surprise of no one. I was actually hoping maybe the Vaudevillains would win, but I can see why they didn't.
Yeah.
Just because
It might be a little too early for
it's
the
too early for
Vaudevillains.
the Vaudevillains. I think they need more time for people to hate them.
Yeah.
You know, they need to really
But
play up.
New Day definitely doesn't need the titles at this point.
Oh God, no.
They need it for part of their chant.
Yeah,
but,
that's pretty much it.
But imagine though, they're going to lose it eventually.
Yeah.
And then they'll get it back. And when they get the titles back and then get to do that chant again, it's going to pop huge.
Yeah.
The first time they get to actually do that again, it's going to be great. Backstage, Renee Young asks AJ about Gallows and Anderson, and he's super annoyed at the question. He's just like, have we not been over this before? Like,
It's great. Come on, man.
Which I thought was great.
Yeah, because it's very rare that like wrestlers acknowledge that. You know what I mean? Like they're like, look, we just spent 3 weeks talking about this. Can't we move on to something else? But they're usually like, well, because especially for like a because AJ's ostensibly been like the baby face of this situation. They're always like, well, I'll answer all your questions and never snap at you or anything like that. So
next up, one of the 2 matches of the night.
Yeah.
The Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental title.
God.
Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, and The Miz.
Yeah.
I like, by the way, that they have Cesaro as a buffer between, like, Kevin Owens comes out first, then Cesaro, then Sami Zayn. Because you know,
if they were left in the ring,
like Owens and then Zayn, it'd just be a fight.
Yeah.
I love this so much.
The beginning of the match?
They're each in 4 corners. The bell rings, and Sami Zayn just goes wham! Just tears across the ring, haluva kick to Owens.
Yeah.
Bang! And he falls out of the ring.
Yeah.
And Miz and Cesaro are just like,
yeah, the look on their faces was great.
what the hell just happened?
Because you know how like we all look at Sammy and he's kind of played off as like, oh, he never wins the big one. He doesn't really have much of a mean streak, and Kevin beat him. But then he does this, and they're both kind of like, oh shit. Yeah.
So then they both sort of throw the Miz out as well. And the first several minutes of the match are Cesaro versus Zayn.
Yeah, and Cesaro does like 8 or 9 of those kip ups like in a row. Man's a freaking nature.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
At one point later on, after Owens is conscious again, Cesaro is outside the ring, and he keeps trying to get back in.
Yeah.
And he comes to try and get in, and Owens kicks him back out.
Yeah.
And then fights with Zayn a little bit more. And then Cesaro tries to get back in, and Owens throws Zayn at Cesaro and knocks him back out.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you don't get to come back in the ring.
There's one point in this match where JBL says, Byron, if you were on life support, I'd unplug you and charge my iPhone. I can't remember what the context was. But I was like, oh, shit. Yeah.
Wow, that's hateful. Love it.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of commentary, there's Cesaro does an exploder suplex on 2 guys.
Yeah.
And Cole sort of ribs JBL because you remember when Mike Cole called the last plex at, I think it was Mania?
Yeah.
And JBL was like, yeah, it's an exploder suplex. And Cole was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just like astonished that JBL would have actual play-by-play insight.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, that was an exploder suplex, wasn't it, JBL? And JBL's like, yeah, it was. Just like sort of ribbing on JBL a little bit.
There's a point where Kevin Owens is taunting Sami Zayn, and he's like, that's my title. And Sami goes to just take a punch at him. He just looks so like beat up and defeated. Oh, I thought it was great. There's the triple suplex spot that they've been doing like every match.
Yeah.
But it still always looks impressive.
This is the superplex with
where they're going to.
It felt really earned this time because Owens had been up there for a while.
Yeah, they were doing this thing where they were all trying to get at Owens.
Yeah.
And Owens was kind of like fighting them all off one at a time.
And then they were finally like, okay, we both need to go up there at the same time.
So Sammy and Miz went up there.
And then Cesaro was
comes
like,
in.
And then there's this huge superplex down. I feel like we talk about like some stuff that's contrived, but it's okay because it's wrestling.
Yeah.
And then this is totally personally on me.
Yeah.
I find the uppercut train a little too contrived.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you find like the Cannonball thing contrived?
The Cannonball Express, similar, but less, maybe a little less.
Did we say last week about Cannonball Run? We should call it Cannonball Run.
Oh, that's
like the
good.
Burt Reynolds movie?
Yeah. They call it the Cannonball Express.
I'm surprised they didn't call it Cannonball Run, but maybe it's copyright. I don't know. But in my head canon, it's Cannonball Run.
Yeah.
So.
But you know they're sweet. They're
it's just
a little too contrived.
It's a reason for the crowd to go oh, 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 hey.
Cesaro gets 20 spins on the Miz.
Yep.
And Miz hits the skull crushing finale.
Yo, I thought it was over.
Oh yeah, me too.
There were so many times in this match. This match is very good.
Yes.
And there were so many times because I watch on my computer and I have headphones on, and there was 3 or 4 times in this match, especially near the end, where I was just like, I threw my headphones off because I thought it was over. Like, you do that thing where you sit up and you're like, no, shit! Yeah, this was one of those.
And what I loved is that it wasn't, but the announcers made a big deal about kicking out of the skull-crushing finale. They're like, oh my god!
Yeah.
That was amazing!
Yeah.
He's won so many matches with this move.
Yeah.
making finishers great again.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? I know that's a sore spot for a lot of the community.
Yeah.
In making finishers like great again.
I'm in favor of it. I think it's good. I don't want to see a match where it's just dudes do their finishers 8 times back and forth. Because otherwise, what's the point
of having a finisher?
Otherwise, it's not a finisher.
Yeah. It's just a move.
You can still kick out of them.
Yeah.
Witnessed here. But, like we keep talking about how cool it is when people sell the dirty deeds, right?
Yeah.
That it's like, if you hit your finisher, it shouldn't be like, oh, cool, he hit that move that he does. It should be like, oh, this could seriously be it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be, but play it up.
But I think the success rate on the skull crushing finale is very high.
It is high, yeah. Miz, for his part, taps out while in the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
But the ref doesn't see it because the ref is dealing with Maurice.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great. And because he taps out and Cesaro lets him go.
Yeah.
Bad Cesaro, you gotta wait for the bell. Because he sees Miz tapping and goes, great, I won the match, and stands up and lets Miz go, and then goes, wait, what happened? Where was the bell?
Yeah.
I won the match just now.
I'm the winner.
And the ref's like, no, I didn't see anything. Owens, so Cesaro grabs Miz again to try and spin him again.
Yeah.
And Miz grabs the rope.
Yeah.
So Cesaro has Miz sort of elevated off the ground. Owens jumps in from the corner, frog splash onto the elevated Miz.
Jesus, yeah.
Zayn breaks up a pin now by reaching in and grabbing. Sammy barely misses out on getting a win by pinfall.
Yeah.
And because of Kevin Owens. And so just goes nuts on Owens.
Yeah.
Just he forgets about the match and just goes nuts on Owens.
We forgot to mention the Sami Zayn Cesaro sunset flip spot.
Yes.
With that flipping powerbomb thing that they do.
Yeah,
it just looks amazing.
Because that's the thing, is that Miz gets the pin on Cesaro, but Zayn is the one that knocked Cesaro down.
Yeah. Zayn had the match won.
Yeah.
And Zayn got pulled out of the ring by Owens and was so incensed. Incensed?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it. He was so incensed, you guys.
So incensed. But he just hates Owens so much that it cost him the match because Miz came in and took the pin. I think it was the haluva kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he hit on Cesaro. Yeah. So Miz retains, which I am completely fine with.
Totally fine.
And I loved how Sammy and Owens both lost it because they hate each other so much.
Yeah, it's great.
They will fight forever. They're like Batman and Joker.
Yeah.
Like just forever.
It's a really good storytelling.
Yeah.
And now it's time for what I can only assume will be a complete shit show.
Yeah.
It's the Asylum match between Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho as a steel cage, a black steel cage, lowers into the arena. Hanging from it, the following items: a pair of nunchucks, a potted plant, a straitjacket, fire extinguisher, a kendo stick, a 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire, a leather strap, and a mop and bucket. You know, all the things you would find in an asylum. Nunchucks. Okay.
Oh no, we have to lock the mop and bucket behind closed doors if the inmates get them. It's just...
Apparently, say the announcers, Jericho has been in every other kind of gimmick match.
Oh yeah.
They just sort of mention they don't list them, but things like
Last Man Standing,
Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber, normal steel cage matches.
Has he been in an Inferno match?
I don't know. Ooh, what about a Punjabi prison?
There was only one of those.
There was two.
There's two?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think Undertaker was in one of those.
Yeah, he was.
Batista was in the other one?
I think that's who it was.
Yeah. Wait, wasn't there a Punjabi prison match that Great Khali got injured and had to be replaced in?
Oh, I have no idea.
Dude, I don't know. It's dumb. Anyway, this is equally stupid, but hey, it could be interesting. Yeah. The match starts, Jericho immediately goes for the door.
Yeah. But didn't it look like Jericho just took his shirt off before he came out to fight?
Yeah.
He's wearing like jeans and...
Yeah, well, he doesn't have his cool jacket anymore.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't do that entrance.
Yeah.
And he's really selling the fact that he does not like this.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is bad. This is a mistake. Yeah. He's like looking around. So yeah, Jericho immediately goes for the door, but it's locked, like we said. They get the mop down.
Yeah.
JBL referencing Perry Saturn.
Which I popped a little bit for.
Why the mop with Perry Saturn?
Because Perry Saturn... What was the name of the mop?
Oh God, the mop had a name.
It was a gimmick that Perry Saturn had because I guess he had brain damage.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And the mop had a name, and I can't remember. It was in WWF. It was WWF at the time still. And it was shortly after, like, Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit and then went on to, like, other stuff, and then Dean Malenko retired, and then they didn't really know what to do with Perry Saturn, and he had a mop that he carried around that had, like, a face on it, and he pretended it was a real person.
I'm looking it up right now.
I think they got married.
Yeah, that sounds like the sort of thing that might happen.
And Perry Saturn used to wear dresses all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the name of the mop was.
Moppy.
Was it Moppy?
Just Moppy.
Oh, okay. Moppy.
Saturn began uttering the phrase "You're welcome" at inopportune intervals, and then fell in love with Moppy. And
I forgot about the "You're welcome" thing.
Which he believed
You're
was
welcome.
The gimmick went over well with the fans, leading to a face turn. Terry Reynolds told Saturn to choose between Moppy and her, and was infuriated when Saturn chose the mop. She left Saturn for Raven, who would help her enact vengeance on Saturn by kidnapping Moppy and feeding her to a wood chipper.
Attitude Era!
Wasn't the Attitude Era the greatest moment in wrestling?
Yep. The best storylines. Our interest was piqued. We wanted to know what happened to the mop. But what happened to the mop, Graham?
He got fed into a wood chipper. The Attitude Era, when a mentally disabled man fell in love with a mop.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the best?
Oh, it was just the greatest.
Ambrose, quote...
I guess maybe technically it was the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Maybe.
Yeah, but...
Quote, Ambrose just poked Jericho in the ear with a mop.
Yeah! Dude, he popped him so good, like he was just like...
It's just, Cole said, Ambrose poked him in the ear with a mop, and JBL's like, I never thought I'd hear that phrase. In the history of sports entertainment.
Yeah.
And then Michael Cole says that Ambrose is looking to mop up Jericho.
And they're just both like...
Byron and JBL are both like, dude, come on.
There's actually I forgot to mention on the pre-show, Byron was like, hey, maybe we could all get in the ride-along show. And JBL and Cole were just like, no. No, Byron. No, thank you.
At one point, Jericho goes for the 2x4 with barbed wire.
Yeah.
At the same time that Ambrose gets what Michael Cole insists on repeatedly referring to as nunchucks.
Dude, I was so mad. I was so upset that they kept... And then JBL was like, he's got those nunchucks. It's like, stop calling them nunchucks.
You're the nunchuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Ambrose does like some flippy stuff with the nunchucks. Looks kind of cool.
Well, it looks great because I love that showdown because Jericho's like, I got 2x4 barbed wire. What are you gonna do with those? And Ambrose actually kind of like shows that he knows how to use them a little bit. I mean, he's just doing this.
And
but
then the
Jericho's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, and the announcer's like, what's he gonna do with nunchucks? Oh, okay. Yeah. And it's a little weird because Jericho like swings with the 2x4, which he then drops. Yeah. And then Ambrose beats him up with the nunchucks a little bit. This whole match is basically just them wailing on each other repeatedly.
Yeah. It definitely it dragged
a little bit.
It could have probably been a little bit shorter. Yeah. I felt like this match was perfect for Ambrose's character.
I liked it better than the street fight at WrestleMania against Brock. I liked it better than that match.
Yeah. I could dig that. But I love this match for Ambrose's character because it was like this weird, quirky, kind of funny, but it really played to the strengths of who Ambrose is. Mm-hmm. Like the nunchuck part was funny and just like that weird kind of like, I don't know just how to describe Ambrose. But
at one point, Jericho tries to get Dean to submit to being in half a straitjacket.
Oh yeah,
he like sort of halfway puts a straitjacket on him, and then ask him.
Ask him. It's like, I don't quit.
So then Dean eventually goes for the bucket of all things. Yeah, you're like, okay, Dean, what are you gonna do with the bucket? Let's see what happens. Yeah, but he pulls out of the bucket a black bag. Yeah, and some people, like the announcers, were like, "What's in the bucket?" or "What's in the bag?" Yeah, I immediately was like, "Oh." I wasn't expecting that.
You know what I was hoping it was?
What? A snake?
Mitch's remains. Oh. And he pulls out and everyone thinks it's thumbtacks, right? And then it's just like a handful of dirt. He's like...
Well, they had a potted plant up there,
too. I know, but I just thought it would be funny if it was Mitch's remains.
But no, it's a bag of tacks. Yeah. Which he dumps out onto the ring. They're like, oh, God, not since Mick Foley have we seen the bag of tacks. Yeah. Now, Mick Foley, of course, used the tacks. Many people have over the years. Abyss and TNA use them as well. And typically, the way that tacks work is the way that they work is that they're just literally tacks. It's not. They're not.
We use them to stick things to bulletin
They're
boards.
not gimmicked anyway, like little thumbtacks,
Yeah.
not push pins like thumbtacks, the flat metal rounded end ones with the pin.
Yeah.
Typically, what happens is that if you bring the thumbtacks out and you dump them out on the ring, you are the one that ends up going into the thumbtacks.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh well, all right, Dean's gonna go to thumbtacks later. It's sort of an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
However, Jericho goes for the code breaker, jumps up, grabs Dean's head. Dean catches him, turns him, slams him down onto the thumbtacks. Especially his arm.
His elbow.
Oh, so many tacks. It's sort of apparently it doesn't hurt that bad because it's sort of all at once and they're very small. But
I don't care, dude. It looked like if one of them grinds on like a bone or something.
Don't say that. I mean,
They actually did a really good job of building up to the suspense of someone going into the thumbtacks. You're like, oh, is he going? No, he's not.
Like they were close a couple
Yeah.
times because Jericho was repeatedly putting Dean into the walls, so you could see Dean's feet and all the thumbtacks were stuck into his shoes.
Yeah.
But Jericho wham down onto the tacks and then Dean gives Jericho a dirty deeds. The announcers say onto the tacks. It's not. It's near the tacks.
I think Dean took a little bit of the tax as well when he did it because
as part of the dirty deeds, you can't really do that.
But it's just like, oh, you did this? Okay, well, I mean, like, I got to do it too,
exactly.
right? Like, it's only fair.
Yeah. And then, of course, because dirty deeds, plus having just gone into tax, Dean gets the 1, 2, 3 with that. And Jericho's arm looks rough.
Ugh. They showed like pictures of it. I saw pictures of it on like Twitter, and it was like all in his arm, and it's fake,
It's fake. Yeah, I enjoyed that match.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
It was different. It dragged a little bit.
But
it was
like you
fun.
said, it did play to Dean's character.
Yeah.
Which I like the sort of the like kind of goofy, unhinged Dean.
Yeah.
Rather than what the announcers sometimes say, which is that like he's so crazy he has no plan or has no idea where he is.
Yeah.
Which is like that's not what he is, and that makes him sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
He's not an idiot. He's just like
Ooh. Yeah.
Next is the submissions match for the women's title. They do make a point to mention that even though Natalya and Charlotte have this sort of the iconic sharpshooter and figure eight, that it can be any submission.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be those submissions specifically, but it could be anything. The problem with a submission match,
is it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
That's why I wrote here like this is a very tough match to do.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of notes because like
me neither.
There wasn't much and I don't want to just be passing this off because it's like. Historically, it was like the piss break match.
Yeah.
The women's title match was like, piss break. Like, But
I've never enjoyed submission
matches.
No matter who's doing it.
Even submission matches and like I quit matches.
Yeah.
I've never been like.
Like a last man standing match has tension in the like, will they get up for the 10 count?
Yeah.
But the I quit match is just like, do you quit? No. Okay. And then eventually, do you quit? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
It's over.
Yeah. And a submission match is like.
Hold them.
Yeah.
Hold them.
It's hard to
reverse it.
I never feel any like a lot of suspense when I'm watching someone in a submission hold.
No.
It's nothing like a close pinfall.
Yeah.
You can get into.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the submission holds, I'm never like, oh come on, get to the ropes, please get to the ropes, please get to the ropes, and they get there and they're like, yay! But it never feels like it's the same as a close fall. There was some nice ring psychology by Charlotte. I mean, I love Charlotte.
Yeah.
I love Natty too, but I think I just love everything Charlotte does so far. And she did a really good job of like working the legs. And she does this thing where she's been doing it for months now, is where she suplexes them and their knees hit the bottom ropes, which I've always just really liked.
Nice.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else during the match.
Not really.
Yeah, me
no.
neither. So eventually,
I think it's like unfair. It's a tough, it's so hard to do and to make it interesting.
To watch.
And the storyline was just like, kind of meh.
And then, speaking of meh, is Rick's music hits.
Yeah.
And so Natty is like, well, then I win.
Yeah.
Because Shane said that if he comes down at all, then Natty wins.
Yeah.
So Natty's like, okay, I win. And then someone, who's clearly not Rick, comes
like
out
the
wearing
fake
Rick's robes. And I'm like, is this Lil Nate?
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was Charles Robinson again, messing around. And I was like, this is weird. And the person turns around, and it's Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I mean, like we said before, Emma got injured, and they had nothing to do with her, so they're like,
But I thought they'd be having her feud with Becky, taking up the Emma's mantle.
You would think so.
I would think so. But I do not write for the WWE.
Yeah.
And so it's Dana Brooke, and Natty's like, what? And then gets distracted, and Charlotte wins. And then, after the match, Rick comes down, and they're like, hey! And he shakes hands with Dana Brooke, and it's like, oh, it was a whole setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this could be... When I first saw it, I was like, do you think that they could be leading into like a 4 horsewomen kind of thing? With Charlotte leading?
Maybe. That could be interesting. That could be a direction to go now, because obviously Dana Brooke wasn't originally going to be part of this. So
No.
I don't know.
And then maybe when Emma comes back, she could be there.
Yeah. Speaking of the writers, like like we don't write. Like, well, I'm not a writer for the show.
Yeah.
I guess we should talk briefly about Cody Rhodes.
Shit. Yeah. I totally forgot.
Because Cody Rhodes, aka Stardust,
yes,
asked for his release.
Yeah.
From the company, which surprised the shit out of me. Because remember last episode
we talked about.
I was like,
they'll never release Cody Rhodes.
I was like, they'll never fire him.
Yeah.
And I believe that they wouldn't have fired him.
Yeah.
But he asked for his release, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder why that is. And he released a statement, and I was like, holy crap, because he was very, very honest in his release, and we all got worked. Basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like the international wrestling community or internet wrestling community or whatever.
Yeah.
We were under the impression that because Stardust was a name that he'd had as a kid that his dad had given him, and because his family was so committed to kayfabe, and that he was, that he was into the Stardust gimmick. It sounds like he was not into the Stardust gimmick.
Yeah, it sounded like he had been begging to be turned back to Cody Rhodes
for a while, and all those sort of cryptic teases on Twitter where he was posting, like, will Cody be back, that everyone interpreted as like, Stardust is totally fucking with us, was actually him being like, I really don't want to do this character anymore. Because he mentioned specifically, the writers, like the writer's suggestion, oh yeah, just paint up like your brother, Yeah.
And then talking about like
coming to the writers with ideas, being like, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? And like, even he mentioned specifically like the head writer for SmackDown or something pretending his laptop was on to avoid talking to him.
Jesus.
And so it's like, wow, you did not get treated well.
No. But I mean, again, it is only one side of the story. Yeah. We don't know everything, but true. This is what we're being told. Yeah. And if it's true, that's awful.
Yeah. And, because basically, like, he wants to wrestle as Cody Rhodes and be considered a main event, talent. And I think that could very well be possible.
Yep.
But they don't have that confidence in him.
Yep.
So now he can
do whatever he wants.
He can do what, look at Doc Gallows.
Yeah.
Right? He was a guy, and he went away and came back and, was, like, huge.
It's pretty rare that someone goes away and comes back to the WWE.
It's not, it's getting less rare.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
And he as a follow-up, he tweeted a list. Did you see his checklist?
No.
Cody tweeted a checklist of non-WWE wrestlers who are sort of like, these are the guys I want to fight. Like he's not quitting wrestling. Like Wade Barrett is like, I'm going to take a step back from the ring for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what I want to do. I'll be back to wrestling at some point. Cody's like, as soon as I am out of my contract, because he's been released, but there's a non-compete. There's like a 90-day non-compete thing. So I think it's like August 15th or something. He's like starting August 15th, and he just posted this checklist of wrestlers.
I heard
he's like, I am going to go.
I saw somewhere that he's wrestling Kurt Angle.
Yeah. He is
soon.
He is wrestling Kurt Angle. So he wants to go out there and.
Who else is on the list?
I can't remember. Like the Young Bucks. Sweet. Like he wants to go there.
He'll probably go to New Japan.
I'm
hope
guessing.
So. Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. Was it the Young Bucks tweeted at him? And the Young Bucks Twitter account was just like, so Bullet Club.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sucks to see because It sucks knowing that he hated it.
Because I liked the character.
I loved Stardust, and I wish they'd done more interesting things with it.
I thought the stuff he did with Stephen Amell was great.
Yeah, that whole thing was great. I wish that they'd done the Cosmic Wasteland angle more with him and the Ascension.
Yeah.
And I'm just bummed to
not
have him around anymore. And we've lost a lot of really cool young talent this year to either them releasing them or them asking to go.
Yeah.
And
it's a credit to Cody though that like we bought in that he liked the character, right? Because he was so into it.
It was never never clear on camera that he was not into it.
Yeah.
So, good job for him.
Yeah.
But
he'll find something.
I can't wait to see what he does, and I hope that he makes a name for himself and comes back.
Yeah,
I hope so too. That'd be great. The main event of Extreme Rules. Roman Reigns defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against AJ Styles in an Extreme Rules match. Extreme Rules match is a no DQ match, but you have to win by pinfall or submission.
Yes. It's street fight.
Yeah. There's a sign at the very beginning of the match. Roman is annoying. How do you pronounce that wrestling family? Anoa'i?
Oh, and
Anoa'i?
I think so, yeah.
Anoa'i?
But they're making it annoying.
Annoying.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty clever sign. There's a "you can't wrestle" chant like right off the bat.
Oh man, I actually do feel bad for Roman because he can wrestle.
He can.
And this match felt like a big fight to me.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the vibe going into it. I feel like the crowd was. I'm not going to sit here and say like, "Oh, crowd, you shouldn't do that. That's mean."
No.
It's like, no, man, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, I may not necessarily agree with it, but look, man, I realize that I'm probably in the minority, especially now that I'm really kind of like turning the corner on it. Now that I'm looking at it like, I don't know, just through a different lens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, do what you want.
Did you ever see the CM Punk versus John Cena match?
In Money in the Bank? The one where he's going to leave? Or
No, I can't remember which one it was, but it was somewhere really smarky, and the crowd was doing "You can't wrestle, you can't wrestle," and they're like down like this, and Punk's like sort of primed, and then Punk like stops for a second. He's like, "Wait a minute," and he like looks at the crowd, and he's like, "Me?" And they're like, "No." Like, "Oh, him?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That was
okay.
I think that was the Money in the Bank one where he was going to leave.
So good.
Yeah. It was in Chicago. Like, I remember that. He's like,
he looks so offended. He's like, "Hang on, me? No, him." Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
All right.
Totally, yeah, I got you.
Well, I mean, like, even after this match, Bubba Ray Dudley got on Twitter and was like, all you assholes chanting, "You can't wrestle" and stuff, like, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. And
it's pretty rude.
Yeah, I mean, but again, they're paying customers.
The thing is, my problems with Roman Reigns can't be articulated by a chant.
Yeah.
So I guess
I disagree with your character progression, and I hope that you find ways to find growth in other ways. Good luck getting 17,000 people to chant that, Graham Stark.
I can't wrestle. All right, whatever.
All right, boo.
Start booing him.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is something that I'll never, like, I'll be like, oh, come on, give the guy... I was like, look, they're going to chant what they want to chant. Yeah. They're paying money to be there. You can't really admonish them for, especially, no offense, for Bubba Ray Dudley, for a guy who came from ECW, which hated stuff like this that we're seeing, like a guy that's pushed, like, above all others, you know what I mean? Not everyone given a fair chance kind of thing.
Yep.
Come on, man, give me a break. But anyway, I'm okay with it.
Yep.
I'm not. I mean, if I was there in the crowd, I'd probably be chanting along because mob mentality.
Yeah.
Right. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and say like, "Oh, I would never chant along with them." I was like, I'd probably be there chanting along with them because it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
But
I liked AJ tearing off the padding off of stuff outside the ring.
Yeah. How thick is that padding? Holy.
Yeah. But he tears the padding off the barricade and throws Roman into it, and then he tears the padding up off the floor.
Yeah.
Which is like heavy too.
Yeah.
And he like.
Sorry, but rewinding to the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. There's a part where Roman is stalking AJ.
Yeah.
And just the way he walked, I was like, okay, I am kind of digging this.
Yeah.
Like just this edge that he has. I mean, look, there's problems, but I'm trying to look at the good things that he's doing, right? They brawl all over the arena.
Yep.
AJ does a phenomenal forearm off the kickoff show table. Then Styles starts, that's where they come back, and Styles is just pulling protective padding off everything.
Yeah. The Reigns flips AJ with a back body drop through one of the announce tables.
Yeah, and then the crowd chants, you
still suck.
Yeah.
Which is their way of just like, that was
cool,
but
you still suck.
Yeah, which is doubly me.
Yeah, holy shit. They were giving him not an inch tonight.
Reigns throws AJ through another table.
That's what I was saying. Like, they don't have to do anything with it. Roman. You know what I mean? Like, just send him out there and people react.
Yep. Getting a reaction. I would, if I was a wrestler, I would much rather have a crowd of people yell, "You still suck," than be Primo and Epico and debut and have.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, man, even if I was trying to be a good guy and they were still booing me, I'd be like, hey, look, I'd go back, like, I'd be like, hey, look, they're booing all the shit I'm saying. And they're like, okay, all right, well, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I guess, like, it's a reaction, right? He probably still sells a ton of merchandise.
This might have bothered you a little bit. It bothered me a little bit. AJ was working the knee.
Yep.
And they're commenting on how Reigns had a bad knee.
It did. And then they're taking the power away from the Superman punch and the spear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Reigns threw AJ through the table, as Cole said, on a bad knee. But Reigns was not showing that.
No, he
Cole
wasn't.
was saying that the knee was bad, but Reigns was not showing that the knee was bad.
This match was not a good indicator of
ring psychology.
Reigns' ring psych. I felt like it was a lot better in the previous match, but
eventually, unsurprisingly,
I did right here after the "You Still Suck" chant. Reigns hits like a huge like crucifix power bomb for a bee's dick of a 2 count. As in, there was a bee's dick worth of space in between the mat and the ref's hand.
Wow. Eventually, Ganderson arrives, of course. They knock Reigns down and drag AJ onto Reigns, but Reigns kicks out.
Yeah.
So then the Usos come out.
Yeah.
There's super kicks everywhere.
Yeah.
Each of them super kick a member of the club, and then they both super kick AJ, who also kicks out of that. So I guess I can't be too mad that Roman kicked out of being beat down, because AJ also kicked out of being beat down.
I was
so
fine with all of this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a lot of people are like, no, Super Reigns strikes again.
Styles hits the Styles Clash on Roman onto a chair.
Yeah.
But one of the Usos pulls AJ out of the ring just long enough that by the time AJ deals with the Uso and gets back in the ring, gets back on the pin, that's been just enough time for Reigns to kick out.
I was okay with that.
I was okay with it also because they mentioned it on commentary. They mentioned the Uso gave Reigns just enough time.
Yeah.
That they were like, any given Sunday, that would have been a pin.
Yeah.
But it wasn't this time because of the interference. I was like, okay, selling that, cool.
Yeah.
AJ gets incredibly frustrated, takes off his shoulder pads, starts like gearing the crowd up for the forearm, goes for the phenomenal forearm,
spear.
Boom! Spear from midair. It was a good looking spear. It was a really good looking spear.
Yeah.
And that's it. 1, 2, 3. Reigns retains.
Then what happened?
And then the second coming of CrossFit Jesus.
Yay!
Seth Rollins returns.
He was crucified on an exercise ball for our sins, and now he's back.
Seth Rollins runs into the ring, just immediately pedigrees Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Wham! I love that Seth Rollins has picked up the pedigree from Triple H.
Really? A lot of people hate it because they got rid of the curb stomp.
Well, I love the curb stomp too.
But they had to get rid of the curb stomp because of concussion dangers.
But I just love, from a storyline thing, that he's taken the pedigree on board. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And
I like it.
The crowd,
loses it.
He pedigrees Roman, picks up the title belt, and just sort of like holds it and looks around, and the crowd goes ape.
Yeah.
The crowd loses their mind.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
I was among them, and then that's Extreme
Rules. It was
Rules.
great. I'm so glad Seth Rollins is back.
Me too.
I missed him, man.
Yeah.
He was so awesome. I guess he hasn't been around since we started the show, has he? So we've got Seth Rollins coming back and John Cena coming back.
Yeah.
And neither of them have been around.
No. So what's going to happen? Ooh.
We don't
Shaking
know.
up the story.
I know what happens.
I don't.
Yeah.
I only just finished watching Extreme Rules earlier today. I'm a little behind.
That's all right.
I got 2 episodes of Raw to watch.
But now we just have 2 episodes of Raw. We're going to record again next week, so early June. Yes. And then we will be caught up.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And then we can kind of get back into a
2 weeks.
Every 2 week schedule.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
So.
Because I'm hoping, and it should really elevate things. Like, and especially for us too, like, because we're both busy.
Yeah.
You're a new father.
Yep.
I got lots. I work all day, and then I have shit I want to do at night.
The father thing is going very well.
Yeah. But it's busy. It's a lot of stuff, man.
This is why I'm going to go home and feed a baby. So, help to feed a baby.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as involved in that process yet on account of
boobs.
Lack the equipment. Adam.
Yes.
You're on Twitter.
I am on Twitter.
What are you on Twitter as?
I am on Twitter as @WakeUpSuper, which is like right here.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. And you, Graham Stark.
What's up?
You're on Twitter.
I am @Graham_LRR.
Yes.
For Loading Ready Run. And this show, as with all the stuff Loading Ready Run produces, is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon, patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Please check that out.
Yep.
And that is it for this week of Sidewalk Slam, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye!